then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
It's a new season, and with new seasons come new challenges. With new challenges come different contenders at the top. We saw last season the crowning of a brand new champion, but this season is not necessarily going to be the easiest that you will find. There are more drivers this time out than there were last season. There are more opportunities than found last season. The reverse grids are going to be a little bit larger, but one thing is for very much certain. This is Okayama, and this is the opening round of your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. We are back again, ladies and gentlemen, with your esports broadcasting network, ESPN. I'm Jake Sperry. Sam Cooper-Bennett's back along for the ride, and what a better place to start than the former TI Ada circuit here, a track which hosted 2 rounds of the Formula One World Championship in '94 and in 1995, and by every single metric, this track is small, in the middle of nowhere, and I think is going to be absolutely perfect today, Sam, for these drivers to go and cut their teeth starting this season.
Absolutely. Arigato, everybody, and welcome to Japan for the 3rd season in the what has been a fantastic MX-5 Pro Series. It's going to be more entertaining this time around than it was last time. New drivers, new teams, hopefully, or maybe a new champion. Who knows?
New champion or perhaps old champion. Some returning faces into this one, including car number 9, Andreas Katz, back after a very hectic and incident-packed last season. Was right up there at the pointy end, got involved in an accident and said, you know what, this season's not going to be for me. I'm going to take my way home. And then the second half of the season fell into the lap of Vincenzo Amico. But today is about setting the right tempo. They will have 2 drop rounds over the course of the season, but they have to make sure that they start work immediately. And someone who definitely will be beneficial from starting work immediately will be car 78, the reigning champion Vincenzo Amico. Had to do it the hard way last season, had 2 rounds missed at the start and then work points along. Ideally, you'd say it's an easier start for car 78.
Yeah, and unfortunately, well, I was going to say, unfortunately, he doesn't have backup here for his championship defense here tonight, but Anthony Larson just made a late entry into the session, as now, for the first time in the season, Jake, we are off into qualifying.
We absolutely are. It is 15 minutes of open qualification, and it's very important for a number of reasons. If you have an accident out there on circuit, this league enforces a no escape rule policy. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you tow your car back to the pits, it's essentially like real life here, Sam. Your car will not be able to go back out again because it's been on the back of a tow truck.
And everybody piling out of pit road, and yeah, the no escape rule is a big thing in this league, and you don't really want to end your qualifying off in a bad way, especially in round 1, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this one pans out, because like I said, everybody piling out of pit road right now.
And it's also worth noting this is the first time, and maybe the only time this season, we're going to see all 25 cars out there on circuit at any given moment, because of the fact that there is a strict license penalty system involved. And if you go over the cap on your license, you'll be taking some drive-through penalties, some exclusions from qualifying or pit lane starts, which are the worst indeed. So keep that in mind as drivers look to figure out where they need to be on the circuit, and all the different teams, the new liveries that are out there, everyone's focusing for what they can get. But at the front of the train then, looking for the first times to come in to start, will be car number 39, Peter Van Gaal for the Momo team, and has a teammate just behind for help there, Steve Hefford, there in that one. So very interesting track here today, but you can see here Peter Van Gaal trying to get some temperature into those tyres. Track temp is 20 degrees right now in sim time, 6:46.
Yeah, that's air temperature is 18 degrees. It's cloudy out there as well, so going to be interesting to see how that one pans out. But one thing I want to focus on is how are Momo going to respond to what by their standards was a terrible season last season? How are they going to step up to the plate and actually get back up there this time around?
Well, they'll start by going through the first corner and in towards turn number 2 here at Williams, off camber all the way. And the charge is through this Moss S, the Sir Sterling Moss S, going through the right and then the left again, which leads on to the brakes. And that Atwood curve, it's very, very difficult to say, going through the right-hander and up the hill, looking to try and challenge. This is where the draft's going to be most important and where most of the moves in this race are going to be functioning from, because you take that charge all the way from that section of road and you find yourself at the hairpin here. Very tough on the brakes you need to be. Down to just 66 kilometers an hour there for Peter Van Gaal. And then it's a series of quick left-handers. First you go through the Revolver, up and down through, use all the road on the exit. You've got Piper's Corner here, the next left that follows immediately after. Following that, you've got to be really, really alert, because it's Redmond, the series of switchback hairpins. The left will here of Redmond, and then the right of Hobbs, which is going to be very, very important if you haven't got the move sorted out. Through that right, you try and put the power down as early as you possibly can. Another of those parabolic corners. Mike Knight, penultimate corner out on track. This fast right-hander, and then on the brakes for the final time into the final corner, and the charge towards the line here for Peter Van Gaal for his first representative flying lap time on the board, and we will see what it is going to be. It's a 144.2. Hefford snipes it by 6 thousandths, but every time seemingly mattering early on.
Yeah, and as expected, the faster drivers are coming in. Carl Jacqueline, who's making his debut here tonight in that Diet Coke MX-5 up to P4, but at the front, it's the same two. Andreas Katz at the front, and Dan Bristow just behind him in second place.
Yeah, good work from Andreas Katz. Is there on a 143 flat, and Dan Bristow is only 2/10 back, but all of them are about a second clear of everybody else. Jacqueline in 4th, Sampson is in P3, Pete Newman's only in 5th fastest at this stage, and your reigning champion Vincenzo Amico, well, that first time's only good enough for 9th place, and we're talking 25 drivers. The last place you want to be is shuffled out of position down the road when times aren't necessarily going your way, but they have a lot of time to figure out where those laps are going to come in, and they also have the option to come down, take a manual pit stop, get fresh tyres on if they so want to, and get those laps all sorted. This is a small track, so mistakes do get punished.
Yeah, they do, and so many runoff areas, lots of gravel traps, and you don't want to get stuck in that gravel around here anyway. It's going to really beat you down and lose you a lot of spots. Unfortunately, with iRacing, you don't get completely. Well, fortunately, with iRacing, you don't get completely beached where it ends your race, but will definitely cost you a lot of spots. And those walls, don't touch them; they will end your race.
Absolutely, they will, especially with the iRacing new damage model, which is on these machines, and has every single time they've gone and raced been very tough to deal with. Dan Hunt goes fastest, only for a moment, a cup of coffee, because Andreas Katz says, no, I'm starting this season my way, and I will try and take pole position, and has done so at the moment by 0.4 of a second at this stage. Hefford up to 5th fastest at this moment, and we're starting to see things populate right now. Amico goes 4th fastest on the times. Rav Cullinan bumped down to, I believe, 11th place now, as Carl Hardy goes 10th quickest.
And Hardy back with the series with a brand new team, Safeguard by result, which is he's joining that team by Darrell Wright. That's an all-pro team for those guys, and good to see teams expanding as well. Optical are the other ones that have expanded as well, with Robin Johansson joining with Optical Black this season.
Absolutely, and I don't know what it means by robbing someone's Hanson, but I'm sure Robin Johansson is going to be really, really up for this one. 15th fastest at this point in time in the number 13 machine, which of course is lucky for some, but maybe not for others. Still though, they know what they need to do. They've just got to stay calm out there on track and not make the same mistakes that other drivers have in front. It's very easy in qualifying to just run off the road and be a little careful. And you can see it right now with the Momo cars, who are desperately trying to not balk anyone's qualifying laps. They're taking all the way to the grass on the inside to make sure that they are with the trains they need to be, so that the team can bundle up through the order. Right now, Van Gaal, Ayers, and you can also put in there one Mr. Steve Hefford. They are 6th, 8th and 9th right now, which is really, really strong for them.
Yeah, and that was a bit of luck there for Hefford and Van Gaal, because they picked up Jamie Ayers when they went round that inside of the corner, and now they can work as one singular unit and work off each other's draft and maybe improve on their lap times right now.
Absolutely can. Mark Lutz, by the way, has moved up 8th fastest. Dan Bristow now moves into 2nd fastest with his time. So Mark Lutz really here liking this circuit today. He's only 8/10 off his teammate Andreas Katz, the Top Gun team. Well, Mark Lutz ultimately was ending up trying to be Tom Cruise over the course of that last half of the season. But any chance you can get, now's the time to try and sense it. If you can't get the lap together, now is surely the time you need to get going, because we are over halfway through this qualifying session. We're down to 6 minutes and 52 seconds.
That we are, and yeah, Mark Lutz being Maverick for the most part of last season after Katz decided to take his break. And again, I saw another car, I think it was Dan Hunt, taking a very off-track excursion there, trying to avoid other cars as well.
Yeah, if you don't want to put yourself in any trouble, you just sit, you just wait, you get out of the way. Drivers are going to be out there on laps, and God, it's a madness trying to work out where you need to be. There's 4 cars off the road, all 3 Momos, and Dan Hunt as well. It's very, very tough to make sure you're in the right position at the right time, and I'm sure that the stewards will be looking at these qualifying efforts going, well, is it going to be a help or a hindrance that everyone's off the road?
At the moment, it's a help because they're staying well out of the way, but definitely won't help Dan Hunt. He's going to have to wait there now for that train to go by in order to get himself going again. He's had to stop completely. Now he can get going as he rejoins. I believe that's just in front of Scott Malcolm, and actually Dan Hunt is going to bring it to pit road.
Yeah, no surprises there then. So Dan Hunt's going to take a fresh set of boots and go out there again. Now, the other thing you need to look at with drivers going off the road is how iRacing calculates that, and whatever you have underneath the car is going to be dragged back onto the surface, therefore making the track that little bit more slipperier when you get back out on track.
Yeah, I mean, kicking up dust and stuff like that is a thing on iRacing, and it's very slippery out there if the dust is kicked up onto the track, and you don't want to be driving over that. That will literally take the car from underneath you, and it will likely spin you out, but nobody's done that so far. We've not had any big incidents so far, so everything going nice and smooth so far.
Yeah, and that is what we like to see here with your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, especially at the season opener. But as we know, with the course of this season, it can get hectic, and there's a reason why you want to be in that middle pack of drivers when you've qualified the car. If you haven't got the pace today, here, of course, one Mr. Sam. But the key is, if you do get yourself in the middle, you're more likely to be in with a chance of getting a very nice reverse grid spot.
Yeah, we're looking at Jamie Ayers right there, and he's one of those drivers in that middle pack, and he's trying to get the best position he can. He's currently sitting, I believe, that's right behind Charles Kellyman, and Kellyman peels off, but yeah, it's best to be in the middle of the pack because you get that awesome draft, especially down the start-finish straight where you can actually get the best times, and now Ayers will get that because he's right behind Dan Bristow.
Yeah, that certainly is the case. So you get a double toe in essence. You get one for the end of your lap, and then you get one to charge on forward for the next one. So that's always going to be key if you can make sure that the laps favour in terms of the way that you charge forward, then that is certainly going to be huge in the offing there. So let's keep an eye out on those sorts of battles and see how they all figure out come the end. But it is still a 2/10 margin for Andreas Katz over Dan Bristow. Pete Newman in the pits right now is currently 3rd fastest for Pure Sims. So we're seeing a lot of drivers trying to get those times in, but down to the final 3 minutes. And if there's anything there is to know about this track, and a cold track at that, is that the more cars are on it, the more likely that track is to fall away in terms of pace.
Yeah, speaking of falling away in terms of pace, Carl Giacoletti was up in the top 5 at one point in the qualifying standings, now finds himself down in P18, and that just shows how quickly you can drop down the standings if you struggle out there on track. And yeah, Giacoletti falling victim to that right there.
Absolutely is. And with car 42 in the pit, there'll be questions of whether you want to go out there again or not. Ayers leaving a train, and a pretty hefty train at that. There's pockets of vehicles here, there and everywhere searching for their last laps, and Mick Barry has pulled the car over to the side on the pit straight. So he has not effectively towed from this one, so he circumvents the rule. He can stop, he can get himself, you know, a little beverage or something like that and get himself back going again. But Ayers now making a drive to the line, 43.4, his best lap so far, and as he crosses, that is going to be a 43.7, so no real improvement there. Speaking of improvement, Carl Hardy just behind moves up into 11th place.
Yeah, and immediately tows it, so his qualifying session is done now. So he falls foul of the no escape rule, but I think he might have done enough there. Probably going to be happy with sitting just outside the top 10.
I'm pretty sure as well. And if you're patient enough and you sit outside of the top 10 and you understand just how important it is for you to just get yourself placed. Carl Hardy, of course, did get a victory last season in limited running, so seeing him for a full season this time is going to be really big. Martin Sampson back out there on circuit in number 80 car, had himself a nice little break. He said, I don't know how to turn on a computer after he came back. He'd been away so long. But he finds himself in P number 6 at this point in time, which is a pretty solid start on return as things go.
That was actually one of the few people that actually took him seriously when he said he couldn't switch on a computer. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, but yeah, it's good to see Samson back and running, and hopefully he can put on another great championship charge like he did last season.
Absolutely, he can, and I'm sure we'll see it over the course of this one. He was an outside shot for the title and did so by level of consistency, and consistency is very much king when it comes to competition in this series. So will we see that? We're down to the final 40 seconds now here, Sam, and if they are over the start-finish time before the timer expires and hits 0, they are allowed to finish any lap they start.
That they can, and Samson is one of those drivers that's probably not going to make it here. He's still through the middle part of the course, so probably not going to have enough time. Same for Vincenzo and Miko. He's not going to have enough time to do another lap, but I think everybody's actually not going to make it. Actually, Kellyman might. He's got about 10 seconds to get to the line, and will not, I don't think. He's got about 4 seconds. And no, it just runs out of time just before the line. So Kellyman will complete his qualifying as things stand right now. And I think everybody else is on the lap as well. So nobody beat the timer there.
Martin Sampson, 43.6, not good enough then to improve. And Miko is out there on track hoping for something, and that something ends up being a big nothing out there overall. Then there's the two Top Gun cars over the line. Lutz, 43.7, 43.1 for Andreas Katz, who was trying to help his teammate out. Paul Lee has spun the car on his flying lap, which leaves it up to PVG, Peter Van Gaal, trying to get a good lap in on the books, is dragging along and pulling off to the side, actually, of the road there. So Steve Hefford can improve on 7th place as he goes through Redmond Corner and up in towards that right of Hobbs and trying to get as much as possible. Ayers on a lap. Darrell Wright is also out there on a lap. Those are the only other two drivers who can find what they need as they drive through turn 10 into turn 11. Ayers is full drift mode, trying to find some time. It's not the quickest way round a corner. Hefford's going to be first over towards the line. We'll see what Heff can do and what Heff can manage. He pulls it off to the side of the road. He wasn't impressed with that, nor was Ayers. And Wright, a 44.9, did not improve. So that is qualifying all in the books. Let's take ourselves over the starting grid to see how everyone will line up for your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series opener here at Okayama. And it is the inaugural champion, Andreas Katz, number 9. 142.526, takes it by 0.2 of a second ahead of Daniel Bristow in second, and Pete Newman there in third position. Dan Hunt gets 4th fastest in qualifying, with the reigning champion Vincenzo Amico lining up in 5th. Martin Sampson will go from 6th, with Steve Hefford in 7th and Mark Lutz in 8th. Peter Van Gaal will start this one from 9th for Momo, with Jamie Ayers, his teammate, making it an all-Momo 5th row. Carl Hardy in the 173 goes in the 11th position, with Ralph Cullinan there in 12th. Anthony Larson and Andy Maxwell on row 7 of the grid. Then following that is Mick Barry and Robin Johansson, with Charles Kellyman there in 17th, with Carl Jacquelet in 18th. So Char and Carr next to each other, with Craig Jones in 19th and Darrell Wright rounding out the top 20. Following that, it's Paul Lee with a 44.4, Steve Hansford, Scott Malcolm making his first start in the series, with Alan Toon in the 65 car and the 211 of Andy Littler in a team exchange. It does seem as Littler moves to the work guard team, and there has been a move for Mick Barry going over to Results. But they have 2 minutes now to get themselves gridded up. And, well, this is about patience, this circuit, Okayama. It's not one that you can guarantee all of the overtakes. You can't just sling it, like Patrick Mahomes, for example, when he's trying to win a game. This is very much your patience, your pick and choose of the moments.
Yeah, it is. You've got to really be careful. 25 cars out there. It's always going to be a recipe for chaos. as we've seen in the past with these guys. They love their chaos out on track. They've just got to try and keep it clean, though. I know one driver, Mr. Charles Kellerman, the current, the reigning and defending champion, is probably going to be the cleanest out there. Well, he's hoping to be anyway.
Absolutely, he is the champion of being clean in races as well. So he's definitely got that in the books. Everyone, though, is on the grid. Lights on for the first time this season. The road to Snetterton will start right now. Long hold as they get their launch and they get themselves away. It's a good start there by Pete Newman in the Pure Sims car. Also a great start then for Martin Sampson from the 6th position on the grid. He'll get a look down the inside as they run to the first corner, and all nice and calm as they manage their way through, as they look to fight for each and every place that matters. They go to the left at Williams and look to settle into line. Amico still under pressure as they will go through. The inside line for the most important and crucial corner is going to be in the back pocket of Martin Sampson here, but he's got to carry that momentum over towards the Atwood curve for the first time, and they still fight. Katz in control.
Yeah, Katz in a very good lead right now, and everybody just trying to make it round the first lap as safely as possible. Carl Hardy still sitting in that P11 right now, just ahead of his teammate Ralph Cullinan, as Katz just trying to break the draft of Dan Bristow. And I didn't mention this in qualifying or practice, but Bristow, starting from the absolute get-go in this season, might spell trouble for the other drivers, but at the moment, Katz seems to be holding on to it very well.
Absolutely, got some great two-eye battling through the field just behind Katz. Steve Hefford, a little bit slow coming out of the Revolver. That allows Mark Lutz through, and Amico sliding through Redmond Corner. And just like that, through goes Sampson as they head in towards the next left-hander. That is some beautiful, beautiful overtaking. Every place matters, and now Van Gaal through on Steve Hefford. Hefford's finding out what it means to be freight trained at this stage.
Yeah, that car going backwards, and well, he's going to be thankful that it was his teammate that overtook him, as everybody just trying to find their best positions possible. Jack Collette has moved up. Well, he's stayed where he is. He's still in P18 in that Diet Coke machine. But at the front, here comes Dan Bristow with a look to the inside.
Couldn't quite get it done. Had a slight issue on entry to the corner. Grabbed a little bit of grass. It didn't stop him, but he's now looking to try and open up on the former champion, the inaugural champion, Andreas Katz, going through the big left-hander at turn 2. And they've got to be careful here. 15 minutes is not a long time in terms of a race distance, but anything is possible. Bit of two-widers, Anthony Larson and Ralph Cullinan fight for position. Now, Ralph Cullinan's going to be a really interesting character this season. I'd earmark him as favourite for the AM category title. Yeah,
but he's also got Charles Kellerman up there as well. He's actually decided to stay in the AM category and defend his title, so Kellerman is there as well. Maxwell is there as well, so Cullinan is favourite, but he's going to have a lot of competition to do it, as Darrell Wright, I believe, has had a problem here.
Yeah, Darrell Wright is in a bit of trouble. It's not from the graphic that I'm seeing. I believe that Kellerman has been protested to pro, but yes, Darrell Wright in a bit of trouble in the work guard car, and that comes around at turn 2. And by the looks of things, going through, back end steps out, back end steps out, back end goes around. So for Darrell Wright, that's trouble, and that is not a retirement, but to the back of the field you go. No retirement so far in this race. Everyone has been incredibly well behaved at the start of this one. 6-pack challenge at the front of the field. The gap to Mark Lutz seemingly evident at this stage.
Yeah, and Bristow is your new leader as they come out of the final corner to complete another lap here. And here comes Dan Hunt now, trying to look for a way around Pete Newman. Doesn't quite have the pace right there, just has a little bit of a peak there. As here comes Amico with a dive on Sampson, not quite close enough.
Trying to dive for it, but not going to get there just yet, and patience is needed. We're only on lap 3 of this race, as here comes Steve Hefford with a little look on Mark Lutz. Van Gaal has found a way through on the run towards turn 1. Hefford can't make it happen at turn 2, so no changes on the horizon just yet, but patience still needing to be exercised at this stage. They will take the right and crest the run forward. They know that they've got the ability to go out there and race strong and race aggressively out there on track, but where do you want to make the move? Here comes Andreas Katz, looking to get back to the point then. in position number 1. Looking here on the outside to try and get this done. And it's going to be a long road from there, but he can hold it on the outside. He had the chance for the left-handers. It's 3 in a row from that point onwards, and it didn't quite manifest.
Yeah, and he almost put it a bit too far wide, and that would have given Pete Newman a look to the inside as well, but still holds on to second place right now as pretty much everybody's single file right now, not really forcing the issue in this first race of the season.
No, that's pretty much what you'd expect. You use race 1 as a trying process. They don't want to penalise themselves too early. And of course, if you penalise yourself, not only do you lose the points that you would have scored in that round, but on top of that, you have to count the round to your championship. You cannot use it as one of your drop rounds, and that could be big later on in the season. But Dan Hunt again with a little search to the inside, trying to show to Pete Newman in third place that, hello, I'm Dan Hunt. I have led the most rounds of the championship in this season's history, and ultimately has managed to do so without winning a title. So Dan Hunt, he wants to do what he's always done, start the season off quickly.
Yeah, and currently sitting in that 4th spot right now. We'll want to get around Pete Newman as quickly as possible, but we know Pete Newman is one of the most winningest drivers in the league. He's not going to let Dan Hunt by easily, whether he's led the championship or not. So, and Newman is going to be looking for a better season as well this time around, because he had a horrid time last time. Yeah, he had a couple of weeks off, but still, the form wasn't there for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. He had sometimes a really, really great turn, other times not so much, and it did show when he got involved into incident. Here comes Amico down the inside. There's contact there with Martin Sampson. They buff it about and they're okay. There's still some too wide in the middle. Lutz being shuffled back. Hardy there. Larson losing out. Cullinan now trying to find a way on the outside of the Revolver as they now head to Piper's Corner. Redmond follows next. And ultimately, they're still going to battle for it. Look at this. No room at the end for Cullinan. He's going to lose a place. That's Andy Maxwell going through.
Yeah, Maxwell with the yellow roll bars on his car now. It was very distinctive there in that number 19, as we've had a slowdown for Mark Lutz now. He's dropped a couple of spots.
I wouldn't have said slow down. I think the back end just stepped away from him. Going through the corner, back, loses, and he's just able to keep it pointing in a straight line. So fortunately, he hasn't had any more issues. As I say that, he grabs grass on the entry into the final corner. So he is really up and on it at this stage. Now it's 4 to the front with Amico and the incident there with Sampson. And Amico is in full defensive retreat here. PVG wants to find a way through.
Yeah, and he's looking good odds on for it as well as they come through the left-hander. And Van Gaal is hunting right now, and the Flying Dutchman is on his way down to the hairpin, and look at the way he's trying to get around him, really trying to force Miko into a mistake here. Doesn't quite get it, but still really putting the reigning champion under pressure right now.
Through the torture rack of pressure is PVG. Peter Van Gaal starts to put on, and here comes Andreas Katz again. Going to have to do a lot on the outside of Dan Bristow. A very camera-shy individual is Dan. On the brakes, through the right. How are you going to hold it out of the hairpin here if you're Andreas Katz? Does he sling one to the inside of the Revolver? He absolutely does. They leave each other enough room, and now Pete Newman was trying to think of the outside, covered by Katz. And this is how quickly attack to defense happens in this league. He went for a move at the Revolver on the exit. He's in full-blown defensive mode as Newman can't find a way through at Redmond.
Yeah, and Newman starting to get a bit feisty right there as the top 4 starting to break away from Martin Sampson. Now Sampson on an island all to himself right now as he's able to get away from Amico, and Amico still doing everything he can to keep those Momo cars behind him.
Those Momo cars are not going to stop. They're all in a line, P7, P8, P9 at this point in time. Through the right, and look behind that as well. Anthony Larson with a big train behind him. Hardy, Maxwell, Cullinan, Lutz, Johansson's in there, Kellyman, Barry, Jacquelet, they're all there. Of course, Jacquelet's first start of the season. On top of that, they're all hoping that they can gain a few places here and there, and it can really, really matter. As Hardy has a little bit of a look, he can't quite get it, but look at the lead all of a sudden. They are swarming behind Daniel Bristow as they make the run to the Atwood curve, and still to the inside. Cat searches, big wide line taken there by Dan Bristow, who I think slightly outbroke himself, and all of a sudden It is Andreas Katz now to the point.
Yep, Katz back to the lead now, and Newman looking for a way through as well as he looks to the outside. Here comes Dan Hunt now. Is he not? Surely he's not going to try and make it 3 wide. He doesn't. Thankfully, backs out of it. Discretion being the better part of valor as they come into the right-hander now. Bristow going to sail around the outside here. He's going to defend this one very nicely as he has the inside line to the left-hander.
Oh, he still has that descent down the hill. The outside line works there at the Revolver, and through the long, flat left-hander then at Piper. There's a little wiggle from Dan Bristow. That opens the door up for Katz then. They've been too wide, both of these drivers, for so long. They're bringing the next train in, and Amico's in his scrap as well. He's got Peter Van Gaal all over the back of him. But look at this. This is what sim racing's about. They've been side by side for nigh on half a lap at this point, and still they won't give it up. Katz finally has to. Bristow, that is an incredible defence.
Yeah, and he just held on by the skin of his teeth. Same for Pete Newman as well. He just held on and Hunt able to having to back out of it now. But all that battling has let everybody behind them back in, and now we have a bigger train than we did before. Oh, Newman!
Oh, here comes Newman. Here comes Newman. Straight down the inside of Katz, who's been caught napping. The cat has been caught napping, and he's trying to go through. Contact between Katz and Newman. He unsettles him through the corner, and Newman still keeps the foot in as he tries to attack on the outside. This is some incredible stuff here at the very peaks of their games. They go pretty much paint to paint, molecule to molecule, as they fight into the next right-hander, the Atwood curve once again, and Bristow still has to defend.
Yeah, and Bristow now defending from Pete Newman, though. This is a different aspect right now because Newman, he's very aggressive but very clean at the same time. He knows how to get passes done on either side of the track. As here comes Katz now making it 3 wide.
Here's the big move. 3 minutes and a half to go on the brakes. 3 wide at the hairpin, and it will be on the exit. Katz is going to be the big loser out of this one. Pete Newman, for the first time, takes himself to the point. It is second for Bristow. It is third now at this stage for one Mr. Dan Hunt. And if you look closely, there's been a change as well. Van Gaal now has dropped a place to Steve Hefford. And Hefford is ever the wily character on the back of this. He is hoping for the big kaboom so that he can go through and gain 6 places for the price of none.
Yeah, the man from Lancashire really up for this one here tonight, and he's right on the back of the reigning champion. The reigning champion right on the back of Samson. A nice big train there to start things off here for the start of the season. But Pete Newman, he's not out of the woods yet. He's now got Dan Bristow all over his rear bumper now as they come out of the final corner.
Oh, absolutely. And this is incredible. Here comes Amico, looking to try and get the move up into P5. Has he got it under brakes into 1? Sampson's not going to give this one up. Remember, he's also defending for one Mr. Dan Bristow. Doesn't quite work because through goes Amico. Hefford senses an opportunity on the inside of turn 2. He's going to have to pinch himself a little bit there on the exit. And Martin Sampson, using all of the road, has it covered, and they're going to start falling away. Here comes Bristow now to the point, looking for a move then. They've got themselves around about 2 laps to go as they throw it in the corner, and you know what? Dan Hunt, pushing on the back there of Dan Bristow. He's definitely got a turn of pace, and he knows how to be quick right now.
Yeah, the question is, what's the move going to be here? Hunt trying to look for a gap through the middle. Katz going to try and dive it to the inside. Bristow defends him off 2 by 2 as they go into the right-hander now. And it's going to be very close between the lot of them as they all get it figured out again. But Bristow and Newman side by side for the lead.
For the lead still, and it's going to be about that drive on the exit, and Dan Bristow knows it. The outside slightly better than the inside, it seems, today, and it works a treat. So through goes Bristow back to the race lead, and they know they get a bonus point for most laps led here in this one. You get 100 points for a win, 5 for pole position, which has gone to Andreas Katz, and the win is going to be so very at this point in time. Still, though, they funnel on through, and it is a group of 8 cars fighting for the race win as things stand, with Dan Bristow holding them off at the moment, but just the moment because we're entering the white flag lap. We got 1 more to go.
Yeah, and they all come piling towards turn 1. A big dive there by Dan Hunt to fend off Andreas Katz. Watch for Amico. He's been looking very threatening this last lap or 2, and he's right on the back of Andreas Katz as he comes through the left-hander down towards this long straight.
A little bit wide goes Andreas Katz there through Williams at turn 2. That's not going to be helpful news, but they still got a lot of time to figure things out. On the brakes they go through the Atwood curve, and now it's about power on the exit. How much of a token you get if you're Pete Newman? He's done very well, actually, you'd say, over the course of this run, because he's now got himself opportunities that everybody else maybe does not. Here comes the challenge, though. Looking for the inside. It's not going to be there. It's covered by Bristow. Newman's going to have to go the long way around if he wants to go and get this place. Trying on the outside, there's contact. Newman's going to go scattering off into the gravel, and he is going to lose all the places. Rejoins into the side of Martin Sampson, and now is right at the back of that. Bristow still holding on. Dan Hunt there is in second position and searching for that chance to work out and gain that place that is oh so very much needed. But you're running out of opportunities here, and it's going to have to be some big, bold lunges that gets this one all sorted. Sounds like Carl Hardy's had an issue over the radio as he has a little bit of a conversation about something. But as they make the drive to the line, what a great defensive performance to start the season. Daniel Bristow tackles the final corner, knows he will not be challenged, and he will take victory number 1 of his season. And some may answer and some may ask, the first of many. Andreas Katz trying to go for the line, will not take Dan Hunt second.
No, he will not. And Bristow, a great result for him to kick off the season, and that's what he did not get to do last time around. But now he gets that first win of the season and will start off his championship challenge in style as race 1 comes to an end.
Race 1 does come to an end, and what is going to be crucial about race 1 coming to an end is that all 25 drivers who started this race are going to be able to finish it here today. And that is so very, very vital. And I'm sure everyone's going to be happy because everyone is eligible now for the gridding process and the reverse grid. Before we take ourselves, of course, to that gridding process, we are going to spin our spinning wheel. This is going to determine where the reverse grid is going to line up and where everyone is stacking up for race 2 of 4 tonight. Let's spin that wheel. Let's see where it lands.
And for the first time this season, it's number 13.
13 is lucky for some. It's not lucky for Robin Johansson in the number 13. He finished in 14th. Mark Lutz then will take pole position for race number 2 of this one. Confirmation of results coming up on your screen. Daniel Bristow picks up the victory, 15 minutes, 42 seconds, and does so by 2.75 tenths of a second ahead of Dan Hunt. Andreas Katz finishing off in 3rd place. Vincenzo Amico ended up with 4th, with Steve Hefford in 5th and Peter Van Gaal in P number 6. Martin Sampson finished 7th with Jamie Ayers in 8th, and that was only 2 thousandths as they drove to the line. Pete Newman, the loser in that scrap. He gets 9th. He was 2nd going in towards the hairpin bend. Anthony Larson rounds out the top 10 with Ralph Cullinan 11th and Carl Hardy in 12th, with Mark Lutz there in 13th position. Robin Johansson finishes 14th with Mick Barry 15th and Andy Maxwell in 16th position overall. 17th belonged to Charles Kellyman, started in 17th and finished in 17th. And the same could be said for Carl Jacquelet, who went nowhere, 18th to 18th in that race. Paul Lee up 2, got to 19th with Scott Malcolm 20th, 21st going to Steve Hansford, then Craig Jones, Andy Littler, Darrell Wright and Alan Toon, making the 25 drivers split in those 15 minutes by 41 seconds overall when all things were said and done. But what we can do is bring in a driver for interview, and why not talk to the driver who was on the wrong end of the final lap there, Pete Newman, along with us from Pure Sims Esports. Pete, let's talk us through that final lap first and foremost. How did that one go for you?
Well, I am absolutely wiped out after that. Even more so than usual. Basically, I had an operation yesterday, so I'm a little bit under the weather. Really wasn't expecting to be competitive or anything like that tonight. So just to be up there with the guys racing tonight is basically it's made my the last couple of weeks it's the highlight basically. So I don't really care about what happened. I haven't looked back at it. It's probably just one of those things. Last last lap, Dan was braking on the inside. Obviously, I did give him room, but obviously collided and I dropped back from there. But just as I say, just to be up there is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And let's just talk about how you prepare for a race like this when you're maybe not in the best condition to do so. How much more difficult is it, essentially, racing in your state right now than, say, you were racing in the first part of last season?
Well, currently I've got a stent running from my kidney to my bladder, so it's really uncomfortable to brake. I've had to redo the calibration of the brake to make it really soft, so I'm not having to press it quite as much as usual. So my braking's not as precise as what I'd like, but I've made it so that I can't basically. It's almost like it's on or off, and it seems to be working quite well. And as I say, I unbelievably was in a fight to potentially win that race there with it. So maybe I'll have to try this when I'm a bit better.
Very much are going to, and I tell you what, it's a very commendable effort, the way you're racing right now. Let's talk race 2, because you're going to get a favourable grid position from that. You're going to start P5 on the grid. How are you feeling?
Well, yeah, feeling good for that. It's probably a good result after that. But obviously, we've got all the fast guys behind us, so probably see them by the end of the race, because I'm not sure I'm going to have the intensity without them there, to be honest. So we shall see, and yeah, it'll be a good race, whatever.
Floor's yours, Pete. Shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
Well, obviously, thanks to my girlfriend. She's been amazing over the last couple of weeks with everything. Picking me up in the dark, in the rain yesterday night was it was amazing. My mum, my dad, and everybody at Pure Sims as well, and you guys.
No worries at all there. Pete Newman, a 9th place finish, but it could have been so much more. And things you learn about people when you get a chance to interview them. We're going to step aside for one moment, though, with the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series here with ESPN. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Okayama International Circuit here for your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, the opening rounds of the championship. This is race 2 of 4 that you have stumbled into if you magically just come live, or you are clicking on this one in the middle of the video. And if you do that, what's wrong with you? I'm Jake Sperry. I'm joined alongside, as per usual, with Sam Cooper-Bennett, and we saw a very, very tactical race 1. A lot of side-by-side, incredibly clean racing, no retirements to speak of at all. You could say it was the perfect race 1, but a 13-car reverse grid, that is the spanner that we love being thrown in the works of these sorts of races, Sam.
Yeah, we do. And, well, it couldn't have got more perfectly for one Mr. Dan Bristow. Remember, he missed the first 2 rounds of the season, which meant he was playing catch-up all season long, once again for the 2nd season in a row. But this time, he got it off to the perfect start with that win in race 1. So, watch out, everybody. He's starting from the get-go.
He absolutely is. Of course, season 1, it wasn't a case of he didn't get or didn't miss races. It was more a case he got caught up in pretty much every incident under the sun. In the 2nd season, he missed the opening round, but couldn't quite gather all the points back to challenge. But now he's starting on the front foot. He's going to be a very dangerous prospect to go and deal with over the course of racing action. So we'll keep an eye out on Mr. Bristow out there on track, but focus is going to be on overtaking and how you make clean overtakes and how you decipher good overtakes. We saw just how difficult it was, but we saw a niche of the outside of Revolver might just be the way to go if you're trying to go too wide.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that last in the first race, a lot of outside passes through Revolver, and definitely going to be looking to, going to be seeing a lot of drivers noticing that, oh wait, I can make this move, maybe I should try it myself. So we're going to see a lot more of that in race 2, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm pretty sure we are as well, and that is going to be something very much worth keeping in mind. We are just waiting for the advancement of the session. If we do get the chance, it'll be a 9-lap race here, and to make sure that it is a lap determinative race, there will not be a 15-minute timer. It will be a 9-lap timer and a 25-minute timer. Whichever should come first in the race is the final result that we will see. But how calm can you be in the early stages? How calm are you going to be knowing that you've got drivers around you who want to pass you, who are quicker than you? This is the, I would say, ends to the means of reverse grid racing that consistently is found when we go out there and we battle and we see just how fun this all is. But Sam, you know, we have changed conditions right now, and it's worth noting that it is a hot one here at this stage. We're in what is new for this season, fixed time, and not what we would traditionally have in terms of time, which was a rolling counter. But it is 38 degrees right now, and there is a lot of work to be done here as they adjust to this circuit.
Yeah, that track is going to be a lot more stickier now with, well, a lot more slick now, actually, with the temperature being as high as it is, and with it being cloudy as well. It's going to be very humid out there as well, so the drivers, well, the virtual drivers that are in the cars, they're not going to find it very easy out there in the 2nd race.
Yeah, there is the final call has just come in, and they're just waiting for Dan Bristow, I do believe, to get into server properly. And then once he is happy, and we've just been informed that he has been, we are now in a position to advance session then over towards the race and what is going to be going on. We'll be having a quick fire grid as we go on through and make sure everybody is all sorted and ready. And then once we do, we're going to be in full flow for 9 laps of racing here of race 2 of 4 tonight. And this is how the grid stacks themselves up. It is Mark Lutz on pole position with Carl Hardy alongside in the 173. Then it's Ralph Cullinan and Anthony Larson on row 2, Pete Newman and Jamie Ayers on row 3. Following that, Martin Sampson and Peter Van Gaal with Steve Heffern and Vincenzo Amico rounding the top 10. Then it's Katz and Hunt, Bristow, Johansson, Barry, Maxwell, Kellyman, Jackalette. Following that, Lee, Malcolm, Hansford, Jones, Littler, Wright and Toon. That is your 25 quick fire down the grid. We get ourselves ready and waiting for action to begin. Here, just waiting for the last couple of drivers to get on, those being Ralph Cullinan and Pete Newman. As they ready themselves onto the grid goes Pete Newman. Ralph Cullinan's going to wait as long as possible. If he doesn't take his position within the next 5 seconds or so, he will be starting from a place known as Pit Road. And a place known as Pit Road, he will start. So Ralph Cullinan has missed the boat on this start. We're going to get the lights on here at Okayama. We are ready, and it is a server disconnection for Ralph Cullinan as the green flag drops. So disaster off the start. Great start by Mark Lutz then off of the get-go. No dramas to speak of as they make their run through towards turn number 1 for the first time. And it's a nice clean get-go. Already we start to see some side-by-side. Wide a little bit goes Larson, and it's going to be a fight on the outside then from Jamie Ayers, who of course just slipped by Newman late as he tries to again do the same through the S's section. The Moss S as they go through, and a pretty clean and efficient start once again. Just one car a little slow, that being Paul Lee.
Yeah, and it looks like the safeguard cars finally got the paint schemes on their machines as Carl Hardy sitting in second place. We've had a problem for Andy Maxwell. Maxwell and Johansson in trouble here through the early part of the course.
Yeah, and at the Atwood curve, that is where it goes wrong. Maxwell was losing the back end, and there was nowhere really to go for Robin Johansson. So Johansson is going to have a long road back. Didn't really seem like there was too much dramas there as they go through. Look at how the leaders want to try and go through. It's a 13-car scrap at the front, and every position matters. You've got PVG, Peter Van Gaal, fighting Martin Sampson, and here comes Hef, looking to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide, up into Redmond Corner. They're going to squeeze, and there's the contact, and ultimately a bit of pinball with the ball being the optical blue car. It's the optical blue car that loses out.
Yeah, and it's very much a very close thing, but somehow they made it through as they come to complete lap 1 now, and Mark Lutz out to a very decent lead, and there it is, the contact. Steve Hefford in trouble.
And so is Martin Sampson, who's spun around as well. Hefford trying to wait to get himself cleanly through and going again. He will be able to. Sampson's got to flick spin the car around to get going again. So both of them demoted down to the back of the pack as Carl Hardy loses a place then. That's Pete Newman finding a way through in the safeguard car. Starts to struggle just a little bit at this moment in time. Jamie Ayers then is in 5th position. He will soon want to go up into 4th. Those, of course, behind have just been quietly being patient and waiting for their chances. Katz and Bristow, for example, fighting on the back of Dan Hunt.
That big dive there by Jamie Ayers, and yeah, Katz and Bristow, you know, they're going to try and make their way forward as quickly as possible. But Dan Hunt will not let them pass easily. Neither will Peter Van Gaal and Vincenzo Amico, just ahead of them. But the fight at the front is starting to heat up now as Anthony Larson really closing in on Mark Lutz now.
And here comes the lunge from behind, and that is Jamie Ayers up into 4th position, getting a nice, comfortable overtake. Sorted contact as well between Hunt and Katz, and that's going to allow straight through one Mr. Daniel Bristow, as easy as you like it. That is a beautiful move then to get himself up a very, very close position. Still the battling goes on with Dan Hunt as they'll now dive, of course, to Redmond Corner, this hairpin up the hill. It'll be the inside line then for one Mr. Dan Hunt, who's trying to dictate place on circuit, but not willing to budge too much is the car in blue, Dan Bristow, who knows he's got to be a race general on track if he wants to gain that place through the final corner. Dan Hunt manufactures the route and holds onto the place for the moment.
Yeah, pushes Bristow wide, and that's like Katz in on with a chance as well. Jacqueline not too far behind, but look at Katz now, right on the back of Bristow, coming down towards turn 1, gets blocked a bit by Hunt, and that's let Bristow keep his position for now, but Katz still looking on that inside, going to get the outside, and Bristow fends him off.
Yeah, well fended as they go through. The leaders still in their battle. Newman, Larson, Lutz. Lutz leading this race at the moment, and he loves to lead, does Mark Lutz. Here comes Larson, though, down the inside, and he's not quite there. He's longing for that look of a lead, but it's not quite happening right now as Newman just quietly tries to figure a way through. Of course, he's got that stent at the moment, which is not helping, but what does help is you thread the needle, you go through the middle, and you try and make it 3 wide on the run, trying to get it all sorted under braking, and he does so and takes the lead. Larson now up to second.
Yeah, and here comes Jamie Ayers as well. He's going to poke his nose into their business as well. So Ayers still looking to move forward now as he's right on the back of the 333.
Certainly is, and it is starting to show. Hunt still fighting with Bristow, by the way. You look at the names who are in the train. There's contact. Bristow and Hunt, both in the fence. Both in the fence as they go through. Big dramas. Everyone's going to scatter around them. And a major, major issue for 2 of the title protagonists, you would say, this season, who immediately have their work cut out, and they'll both be looking at each other as they sit in the pit.
Came to blow many times last season, and they've done it again this time around, and so early in this race, in this championship, as well as Carl Hardy is in pit road.
Now, I wonder whether it's for a number of things. It could be that you put the qualifying fuel in instead of the race fuel. The other one is you jump the start potentially. So 173 in a little bit of trouble and is going to be falling way down the order here in this race. It does open up this one for elements of attack, and we've seen some good racing going through. Mick Barry right now is up into 9th position and is looking for opportunity to attack and to gain a place. He's looking at Carl Jacquelet here in 8th place, who's up 10 spots so far in this one.
Jacquelet having a better second race than he did the first, so not too shabby for himself in that Diet Coke machine. But Mick Barry taking advantage of being promoted to the main result team, just having a good run so far, leading the AM category at the moment.
He certainly is, and he's proving that he deserves to be up there fighting for AM category championship as the front 5 with a 6th straggler goes in, looking to the outside, trying to search for it. It's not going to find it when a little bit too deep. That brings Charles Kellyman onto the back and into the fray. We've got a bit of side-by-side as well, a little bit further back, as Darrell Wright loses out of place. That's Steve Hefford trying to recover his way through the field. He's managed to work his way back to 15th and soon to be 14th, because Andy Littler in the work guard car, well, he covers it off then through the left-hander, and there's no room on the exit.
Yeah, and that might let Darrell Wright back in the other safeguard car as they come down to the left-hander. Not quite going to have the momentum right there as Hefford did kind of force his way through at the end there.
Well, he knows when he is supposed to get the, I would say, get a little bit forceful. He's a very, very fair driver. And now this is interesting because into the pits comes Darrell Wright. Have they done exactly the same thing?
I actually don't know, because safeguard cars, well, this is not the best debut they wanted as a team, I'm pretty sure.
I am pretty sure as well. Now, speaking of pretty sure, we've got a great battle here. It's Mark Lutz versus Peter Van Gaal. It's Germany versus Holland, that age-old rivalry out there. And here comes PVG searching for the inside. Room given with that wider track, able to break a little later there as Lutz, but there's not much more than that you can be doing with it, because Peter Van Gaal is going to get the draft from his teammate here, who wants to make sure that the move is scored complete. And this is some very clever driving and team tactics going through. There'll be that switch over to take the natural racing line on the brakes into the right, and it is well scouted and covered off then as Lutz loses out, and through will go Peter Van Gaal.
Yeah, just an update on Darrell Wright. He was only in his pit stall for literally 3 seconds, so I'm thinking he might have short fueled it. He might not have put enough fuel in the car. Same for Carl Hardy.
And a very firm overtake from Alan Toon as he tried to get by Steve Hansford. He has a little bit of contact for their troubles, and now they're tripping over each other. In the middle of all of this, by the way, is Robin Johansson trying to pick apart a move, but this is getting a little bit awkward, a little bit quickly, as Alan Toon finally gets it done. And we are seeing now a more aggressive Alan Toon in the way that he goes to the move, and almost out breaking himself into the back there of Alan Toon was Steve Hansford in optical green.
It just shows that even when you're a gentleman driver, you can only be a gentleman for so long, and Toon wanting to move his way as high as possible up to P16 now.
Up to P16, doing well. We're on lap 6 out of 9 here in this one. Pete Newman leads this one outright with Anthony Larson in second and Jamie Ayers now third. Now, what's interesting about this group is car 78. Vincenzo Amico is up into 6th position right now. He wants to make it 5th, 4th and 3rd if he has the chance, but at the moment, it's not quite there.
No, it's not, but he's still right there as well as, he's probably going to lose a chance to win the race as Newman and Larson have completely checked out at this point. But Amico not showing exactly the pace that he showed in last season that got him the championship, as now he puts a move on Mark Lutz.
He does. He goes to the outside. Can he get it slowed down? Well, Lutz is going to go deep. Amico's going to try and send it up and under here. It's an attempt, but it's just that, an attempt. Follows right up underneath. Going through the Revolver Corner. Ayers throwing the car in third position, by the way, around trying to stay ahead. And tell you what, we're into some really interesting battles. Craig Jones has just defended off Paul Lee there as round goes Jacqueline.
Oh, bad debut for Jacqueline, having another...
There was contact.
Yeah, there was. And we're going to go back and take a look at it right now as it looks like it was between himself and Mick Barry. Barry just sending it in there a bit too hot and just tagging the back end of Jacqueline's car.
And as quickly as that, around you go. That is how quickly a race goes from hero to zero in this sort of series. Gap at the front now is still 9/10 of a second at this stage, as here comes Amico to the outside of one, trying to get the move done on Mark Lutz. Now the inside of turn 2 is going to be very vital. It's off camber. You slide down the circuit every time you go, which means the outside line can work and has done. So it's well played off. But look, just in front, Peter Van Gaal has got Jamie Ayers set up. He's going to go to the outside, and you can see between two teammates, they are not going to argue. Peter Van Gaal up onto the podium.
Yeah, Van Gaal been very good in this race so far, and now finds himself on the podium in race 2. Just want to point out, while the Lutz and Amico are battling, they've got to keep an eye on their rear view mirror, because look who's creeping up behind him. Andreas Katz is right in the picture now.
Absolutely, and that's going to be a little awkward. Wing mirror to wing mirror on the brakes. Amico sent it in incredibly deep. Can he get it stopped? He can, but at the cost of both the Top Gun cars finding a way through. That's what you call a tag team as they go through, and Amico just getting enough room through the corner. Katz is just about holding on to it, and he does keep the place. So that is well worked. Andreas Katz now doing enough to gain those places, and he's just been quietly working his way onto this group.
That he has, and now finds himself right behind his teammate Mark Lutz, and now these two can battle amongst each other, but the Amico's still looking threatening here, and he's going to try and look for a way around. He just, when he tries to get the passes done, he just seems to be just going in a bit too aggressively and just losing all that momentum at the same time.
Yeah, it's a real struggle, but he gets another great run out to the final corner. How hard are you willing to defend here? The end of lap 7, start of lap 8. There'll be 2 laps to go as they cross. And now Amico's got himself to the inside. Lutz is going to have to cover that line on the inside and effectively cause the rolling roadblock. And there is some beautiful boxing strategies then coming in from the 2 Top Gun cars, who know that one way to keep Vincenzo Amico behind is to give him no room to make an overtake or a way to go through. They have covered off every single angle. And again, Amico's boxed in. Door-to-door contact as they hit the brakes. Lutz in. Oh, big door-to-door contact. Off the road goes one Amico, and around goes Mark Lutz.
Yeah, and that was always going to happen. And Barry in trouble, and Barry going off as well, as he gets around Mark Lutz in the same process. So Lutz coming off the worst in that one. I think comes Steve Efford as well.
Efford's going to take those with a big smile after that spin. That's what he's made of. Sterner stuff. What they get raised on in Lancashire, apparently. I wouldn't know anything about that. But at least at this stage, they are all trying to fight incredibly hard. I'll tell you who's really profited from all of this. Car 67, Charles Kellyman.
Yeah, making his debut as a pro driver after winning the AM category last season. As Amico has had more trouble here. I think he's got a puncture.
Yep, and it's very, very heavy. And that you can definitely see sliding in the background there was Scott Malcolm. And it is the front right, which is in all sorts of trouble. He's dragging it around, trying to get the car sorted. You can see he's making 11Zs as he goes around the corner. And he's desperately trying to get some turn in the car. He's very good through the right-hand corners. Good news, it's a clockwise circuit, but ultimately that is going to hurt. We are now on to the last lap of this race, and I tell you what here, Sam, it's not over for second. Van Gaal has caught the back of Larson.
Yeah, Van Gaal looking for that one extra spot on the podium. Probably not going to catch Newman at this point, but now sets his sights on that second spot. Now he's looking very threatening, coming down the hill into the right-hander. Larson able to hold him off, though, nicely, as now PVG looking for the up and under.
Up and under it is. And what can the Ronin Sim Sports car do to block it? Anthony Larson's going to push him all the way to the edge of the circuit. If you want to get through, you're going to have to stay out there, sunshine. Look at this. Van Gaal trying to move over. Finally, he gets that little bit of respite from Anthony Larson, who takes the natural racing line into the corner. And he cannot run the outside line. He just understeers. And through goes Peter Van Gaal. Great move up into second position overall. The battling not done here. Kellyman has Craig Jones for company as they fight for 6th and 7th, and every place matters. Ayers is in the wall from 4th position. He's thrown it in the wall, and he'll have to limp it home from there and hope that the damage is not enough. And he's got a puncture as through will go. Then Andreas Katz, disaster for Jamie Ayers on the final lap. No such disasters for the man who has done all sorts of inhuman acts to be here tonight to race. Pete Newman didn't think he'd be up there challenging. Well, I'll tell you what, Pete, you nearly had a race win in race 1. You've got the W in race 2. Pete Newman, superhuman, wins in this race at Okayama.
Peter Van Gaal does get second place away from Anthony Larson in third, and Andreas Katz, what a drive from him, up 7 spots into 4th place, and looks like Jamie Ayers will limp it home for the last spot in the top 5, just ahead of Kellyman. And then you got Craig Jones, Steve Hefford, Mark Lutz is recovering to P9, and Paul Lee gets a top 10 for his troubles too.
Yeah, Paul Lee, that is a really, really great result for him in the number 49 car. There have been issues for Mick Barry on the final lap of this race, so we need to have a little look back, see exactly where it's gone wrong. It was down at the hairpin. In fact, it was contact with Mark Lutz. They just run in, looks very netcody, and there's damage to the rear for Mick Barry, nowhere to go, and as such, he takes the tow and becomes a retirement in this race. And the last 2 cars making their way to the line are the safeguard cars then as they go through, and those are going to be Carl Hardy and Darrell Wright, who both had to pit in this race and had a lot to work from it, a lot to work for it at this point in time. But we are going to take our look at the spinning wheel for the second time tonight and see how the grid will stack for race 3.
And it's number 15 this time.
15 car reverse. That is going to put Andy Maxwell on the pole position then for that one. So a great opportunity coming up for a number of drivers. Let's get confirmation of result then here on your screen. Pete Newman is starting the season, despite having all of the issues on the braking side, very, very nicely. 15 minutes, 48 seconds. He gets the W and wins by 2.1 in the end over Peter Van Gaal, who ends up in second. It's Anthony Larson who finishes in third, with Andreas Katz 4th and Jamie Ayers rounding out the top 5 after dramas on the last lap. Charles Kellyman will take 6th, with Craig Jones, a great drive, 22nd on the grid, all the way up to 7th come the end, with Steve Hefford in 8th, Mark Lutz in 9th, and Paul Lee rounding out the top 10 overall. Scott Malcolm will finish in 11th, with Robin Johansson 12th and Martin Sampson recovering away back to 13th. Andy Littler in 14th and Andy Maxwell in 15th place overall. It's Steve Hansford who got 16th, with Alan Toon 17th. 18th for Vincenzo Amico in the end after his issues. Carl Jacquelet finishing 19th. Top 20 rounded out by Carl Hardy. The last finisher on the lead lap being Darrell Wright, with Mick Barry, Dan Hunt, Dan Bristow and Ralph Cullinan all failing to make it around here today. Ralph Cullinan failing to make it before even a lap or a touch of the accelerator pedal had been thrown about. So those are some of the battles that we do see out there in terms of sorting out where we need to be. But we are going to bring a driver in for interview. He's a driver who finished in 10th position overall, and that is Paul Lee. Paul, first top 10 in the series. That must be really, really exciting, given the fact that that was a race where a lot of people got chances through other people's mistakes.
Yeah, they did. I made a few mistakes myself, and to be fair, I could have finished 7th if it wasn't for a mistake at the hairpin. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was good fun. Nice to be up in the top 10 for once.
Very much nice to be up in the top 10. We definitely say that. But let's talk through the processes of trying to find pace over the course of a race meeting, because you're finding yourself up there looking for opportunities. You've got new drivers around that you need to understand how they race. How important is it just to keep the car clean and keep yourself out there, knowing that everyone else around you is trying their best to go up there, and some maybe being a little bit more aggressive than others?
Important at the end of the day. I mean, people are going to make mistakes, and you can capitalize on those mistakes, which I did a few times this evening. But yeah, learning the track again, because it seems like a while since I've raced here. Getting used to it and picking the best line, and trying to get used to new drivers as well as I'm getting used to you. So it's all good.
It's all good indeed. P6 start for you then in race 3. How are you looking to approach it off the get-go?
Well, cautiously. That will be the key for me. Try not to take myself or anybody else off, and hopefully keep it clean.
Hopefully we will see that indeed. Before we let you go, Paul, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Just the organisers of the league. It's a fantastic league, great driving, some of the best out there. Everyone involved with it is superb, including the commentary team.
No worries at all there. Paul Lee, 10th position. Every reason to be excited about that overall. But we are going to step aside for one more moment here. When we get back to action, it will be race 3 of 4 here on ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, the opening meeting of the season here at Okayama, and a track which all sim racers should know very well, because here, as I'm Jake Sperry, and I've got Sam Cooper Bennett along with me here at ESPN. Sam, this is a track every sim racer knows like the back of their hand. This is free content, and has been free content for for over half a decade, nearly now reaching a decade at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the very first tracks you go to in these very cars when you join the service. So a lot of these drivers that come into this series know this track like the back of their hand. So it's almost like racing the rookie MX-5 series again.
Absolutely. It's almost like you go back to your first experiences, you dial into it, what makes this track good, what doesn't make this track good, and you try and learn it. And that's why we have seen a cleaner run of racing so far here today. A lot of drivers have a lot of work to do here in this one, but we've been number crunching in the background to work out who's been good. Pete Newman's been good, yes, but I tell you what, for consistency's sake, Andreas Katz is proving why he was champion in season number 1. He's got a 2-point margin at this point in time heading into race 3.
Yeah, and I know people are going to be saying, well, it's too early to be talking about points, but at the moment, you've got to say Andreas Katz has been up there with that consistency that he's been well known for, and he's put himself in the right direction. Now, obviously, he's capitalised on the demise of both Hunt and Bristow, but Bristow still has that race 1 win in his back pocket. So does Newman with race 2. With these protagonists starting from the get-go, as I've already mentioned in this broadcast on many occasions, this season's going to be tighter than it was last season, I reckon. Oh,
absolutely, it will. And I tell you what, we must live in a simulation as we go through, because I was keeping an eye on Andy Maxwell in practice. He's had exactly the same crash and accident out of turn 2 twice behind a Momo car.
That's deja vu, isn't it?
It is very much deja vu. First time it was Steve Hefford, second time it was Jamie Ayers.
Yeah, so the two Momo drivers trying to copy each other, but that's what you do when you're a teammate. You think, well, if you can do it, I reckon I can do it better.
Other way around.
Oh, yeah.
It was Maxwell both spinning twice.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe he just wanted he liked it the first time. Maybe he wanted to make it even better the second time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's art sometimes, crashing. You often don't get to see it. People think it's a very easy thing to do to crash sometimes, but, you know, when you see an intentional wreck, it looks ugly. It's not art, it's just brutish. You see a really good crash, it sometimes comes along as art. Well,
yeah, there's been many times I've intentionally launched. Like one time, I'll tell you a story. One time I literally launched a NASCAR truck. You know those bankings at South Boston?
Yes,
I literally launched a truck about 60 feet in the air, and because I liked it the first time, I decided to do it again and went even higher. So it's like a mental challenge for those that like doing that sort of thing.
I'm Sam Cooper Bennett, and this is Jackass, or something else along those lines.
Something like that, yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. Right, we've got ourselves about 10 minutes then before practice will hard move over towards the race, but we're expecting it at any time from this point onwards, once every driver is ready and in session to get themselves going. Now, it's worth noting we move into evening conditions here. The track is back cold again at 19 degrees. And something we haven't really talked about is the slippery nature of Japanese circuits. Of course, they use a different type of material for their asphalt compared to other circuits around the world. And Japanese asphalt, really a little bit difficult, a little bit more greasier to get worked around.
Yeah, and we've seen that on many occasions, especially in when Amico was trying to make the passes there, as we've seen a big crash on the start-finish straight. Making those passes, but with how greasy that track is, he runs wide and then loses it all again. So that's just all how unstable the track is with the materials that are in it.
Yes, and that instability is going to be crucial the longer that these races go on. It's another 9 laps. This is the 3rd race of 4 tonight, and they understand and know that this is a crucial point of the race where if you've not got a good start to this season so far, you've got to try and gather it back up in the next couple of races, because they know as well that this is a very, very important season to go and get correct. Once they go from this point onwards, they'll be heading to Mosport in round number 2, a track which is very different. It's very flowing. It's very much here a momentum-based circuit to try and get every element of the track correct, Sam.
Yeah, Mosport or Canadian Tire, whichever part of the world you're from. It is a very difficult track. I've seen it many times in lots of different cars, but MX-5s is a different story altogether. There's a lot of, especially at the top of the track, you've got that double right-hander going up towards the latter part of the track. It's very difficult to get it right around there, and I'll be very interested to see how people handle that part of the track.
I'm also going to be very interested to see how this one all plays out. We're still waiting, I believe, for one of the optical blue cars. Of course, they were the team champions last season, to be ready and prepared to get themselves onto the grid, and we will be in position to bring you race 3 of 4. But all of this waiting about gives drivers more time to assess the conditions and know where they need to push here, Sam.
Yeah, let them turn a few more laps and just get accustomed to how the track runs and deal with the temperatures that are out there. Obviously, it's been like a roller coaster with the temperatures. Obviously, we had those hot temperatures in race 2, the cooler temperatures in race 3. These guys are going to be able to just turn those laps, get accustomed to it, and be able to be, and that makes them more ready for when the green flag drops for race 3.
Tell you what, there's some very interesting stats coming in. The one that I love is who's got how many incidents this season. Leader of the incidents at the moment, 1 incident out of 2 races, is the Scotsman in the AM category, 157 in points, and that is Scott Malcolm. And he has been a driver who's not necessarily been the quickest out there today, but he's just been keeping himself out of trouble.
That he has, and it's I mean, if you want to make a good debut, have a quiet one, and Malcolm's been doing that exactly how he needs to in the work guard car. So not having a bad debut, just not the fastest.
Not the fastest, but not the fastest isn't necessarily what is needed. Just seeing that Robin Johansson has run into a couple of troubles. I think that was the driver we were waiting for, and he's had a little bit of an issue. We're just hearing word, are we advancing or are we not? But I believe then it's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. But we are down to 6 minutes to go at this stage. So Johansson's going to be loading back into the server, and then I believe we are getting the call to go once he is ready and in. We do get sometimes these issues, but I tell you what, that's fantastic work that is done by this team to give everyone enough time to feel comfortable. I think they gave more than enough time, and then they saw the development change there, Sam, and that's why they're adding this extra more time to make sure that everyone's ready in this server. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they're very gracious with their time. Obviously, when during last season we had a few technical issues and they gave us more time before they started the race, so very thankful for that. One driver that is missing in the field, though, Jake, I don't know if you noticed, Dan Bristow not in the session.
Yeah, it might be after that hit. We don't know where he is. We just go on without him, I think was the words that we heard. So really, with Dan Bristow, maybe not the happiest chappie out there after that incident and that hit in that last race. He's going to say, you know what, I'm out of points already. We'll just take it of trouble. And I'm just hearing word, actually, that Dan Bristow is just loading into the server now. So with 4 minutes, 45 seconds, he's had a little bit of a break to gather and collect his thoughts. And he's going to try and get back in here for this race 3. So once again, we get delayed because Dan Bristow, ever the showman, leaves it to the 11th hour and the 58th minute to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, taking full advantage of that grace period and just using the time to get himself back in the frame of mind for racing again. And you kind of need that sometimes. If you've had a bad run of things, you need that time just to recollect your thoughts and get yourself back in that frame of mind again, and I'm pretty sure that's what Bristow's doing right now.
I've just heard that Charles Kellam's going to take me out to drinks to apologise for all of this, but I don't quite know how that's going to play out. But either way, I assume you're in with me there, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah?
know. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, perfect. We'll set a date later on then.
All right.
Either way, we are pretty much almost there and almost ready to get things going. It's been a long hold and a long wait for this third race, and that's only going to add to the nerves and the excitement from drivers at the front, the weight of responsibility from those at the rear trying to gravitate their way through the field. This is going to be a difficult challenge in this race 3 with how long they have had to wait for this one to sort out. And of course, it is also dragging the likes a little bit longer on. The call is we are all in from Martin Sampson, who I guess has been called camp leader of making sure everyone's there and around. Let's get ourselves into play as the checkered flag should be in the next couple of moments being unfurled, and we should be looking to go racing. If it's not, well, there it is right now. I was going to say they would have had 3 minutes and they'd been starting anyway, and there wouldn't have been much that they could have done about it. But let's get ourselves into position then for race 3. A quick fire grid coming to you right around now. Pole position for Andy Maxwell will have Andy Littler alongside an all-Andy front row with Martin Sampson third and Robin Johansson in fourth. Scott Malcolm goes from fifth, Paul Lee sixth, Mark Lutz from seventh and Steve Hefford eighth. It's Craig Jones ninth and Charles Kellyman in 10th with Ayers, Katz, Larson, Van Gaal and Newman, your top 15. Following that is Hansford, Toon, Amico trying to charge through, Jackalette, Hardy, Wright, Barry, Hunt, Bristow and Cullinan, your 25 drivers here today at Okayama. Once again, just waiting for the one driver to grid up. That is Pete Newman. He is on the grid. We are all set. 25 drivers, round 3 of 48 this season here at Okayama. Here's the chance then. Lights on, lights out. We are underway. Great start by Martin Sampson from the second row of the grid. Immediately trying to cover here is Andy Littler. Maxwell's got a pretty decent get-go as well as they charge towards turn number 1 for the first time. And of course, 2 drivers who have fought each other before in the AM category championship are now 1 and 2 at the moment as they slide on towards turn 2 at Williams then and look to get themselves going just on the outside. Holding on to it there was a bit of battling. Jackalette then is doing pretty okay, but Scott Malcolm's making good progress here. He's got Johansson on the inside of him onto the Atwood curve for the first time.
Yeah, and Johansson looking for a good one in the second one. Here comes Mark Lutz as well to that inside line and going to make it 3 wide almost. And Lutz is going to have to back out of that one. That nearly ended in tears.
Very much nearly did, but we still got some side-by-side action because that's brought Steve Hefford alongside. Malcolm still fighting with Johansson. The lead lost now to Martin Sampson. And on the brakes they go into the hairpin and very nearly more contact there for Mark Lutz and Steve Hefford as they go through. Lee on the outside. That allows Andreas Katz then the chance to sneak on through. Pete Newman is there as well, trying to just siphon away through on the outside, and he's going to be able to manage it. Amico's in the gravel on the outside. He's okay and goes through, but a very, very quick start. But it is 2 optical cars away at the moment. Here comes Heft down the inside. He's got 1, nearly got 2. Malcolm had to leave the room.
Yeah, Malcolm's still trying to hang it on the inside right there, but Hefford going to sail it around the outside there, try and keep it there. A bit of a wiggle and a bigger one for Jamie Ayers there, very much sideways out the corner. Nearly ended up facing backwards, but somehow able to save it as Hefford did sail it around the outside and gets up to P4.
I wonder if he didn't fully go through the car wash, did Jamie? Yes, that car looks like it's running on soap wheels at this moment in time. This, though, you still got more battling. Paul Lee, Anthony Larson, side by side. Newman trying to get through on Lutz. Katz trying to get through on Ayers. They all run towards turn number 1. 3 battles in a row and 3 battles that aren't all fully secured. Newman's got his move and Katz doesn't quite have his. Ayers has been able to defend.
Yeah. And we all know how good of a defender Jamie Ayers is, but with how slippery those wheels are right now, you need to be careful. It's happening. Big incident.
They're gonna scatter, and somehow Paul Lee's gonna get caught out here, and he goes into the grass. But Steve Hefford is upside down on the run to turn 4. He takes his toe, and I think you'll be thinking, well, what on earth just happened there? Andy Littler was going for everything. He was defending with all he had.
Yeah, and there's the chaos that we were expecting in race 3. Paul Lee looking to keep it out the wall there, but Hefford, a disaster for him right there on his roof and out of the race.
And that is how quickly you go from hero to zero. We say it so many times, but it is as quick and as simple as you blink, you miss it. That's all the action. Larson side by side with Lutz as they fight out of the Piper's Corner in towards Redmond, the next left-hander, and a bit of side-by-side in front as Scott Malcolm and Robin Johansson, the optical black car, try and fight. And there's a little bit of contact there from Jamie Ayers, and Malcolm then on the inside is able to hold it, but he's got zero drive going through up towards Mike Knight Corner, and Johansson takes the place.
Yeah, good run there by Johansson to take it away as Jamie Ayers amping up that aggression level as he tries to get around the rookie. As they come down towards turn one, now he's going to bring Andreas Katz with him. Katz going to try and follow him through here as they are lockstep down towards here. Malcolm going to give him plenty of room, and Katz probably going to sail on through as well. The answer is no. Malcolm's just going to try and hang it out there a bit longer.
Yeah, so holding on the outside is now Katz. He's going to do exactly everything that's needed. Pete Newman's going to be searching for the next position, and you can see behind Dan Bristow is there in the mix. Now he's trying to get back into this though, and there's contact, and there's more as tipped goes around Mark Lutz. Green wheels, that's how you can tell, and that was all down to Bristow trying to be cheeky and pushing down the inside. Is this going to be the penalties to start the season that has plagued him so long in this series?
It probably will. Unfortunately for Carl Giacoletti, he got a big piece of that as well, and he's now showing a bit of damage on his car as Robin Johansson loses third place to Jamie Ayers right there.
Yeah, he certainly does. Jamie Ayers has done a brilliant job in terms of finding that way through into third. What's the cost, though? Look at the gap. They've lost 5 seconds to Maxwell and Sampson, who are 1 and 2, and I don't think anybody is going to be looking at that in the immediate future as closable here on lap 3 of 9, and every place mattering in this field at this point in time. A lot of patience is very much needed as every battle goes on. Right on the back of the big train is Peter Van Gaal. He's got Miko and Larson in front, and Scott Malcolm as well. And as we know, it's all about patience. We saw that from a number of drivers. Bristow up 14 places, and it's going to be more after he crosses the line. He is going to be up an eye-watering in this race so far. 17 places.
Yeah, and just as I say that, Malcolm going to lose more spots here. Needs to kind of stop the rot here as both of the Ronin Simsport drivers make their way around him, and Van Gaal going to try and find his way around him as well, as Malcolm is just falling further and further backwards in this race now.
He certainly has. And Scott Malcolm is priding on his finishes, but he's trying everything he can. And at the moment, no. As Larson's through, Van Gaal is through, and now we are 3 wide in front. Johansson, Newman, Katz, all scrapping hard for positions here. This is the fight for 4th place on the road, and the question now becomes Pete Newman. How good is he on the brakes? Of course, he's dealing with that stent that he's dealing with at the moment, and he has done enough. Well, double dealing, double move.
Yeah, and a great move there by Newman to make his way up there and gets that position away. Very well done there for Newman, and we were saying at the end of the last race, he's very much superhuman. He's showing that again here tonight in this third race.
Yes, and that has been really, really crucial. Pete Newman, when he's not been at his best, has been really, really fantastic. And this is the sort of thing that you compare to, for example, the flu game of one Mr. Michael Jordan. It's that sort of level where you know you're hurting, you know you're struggling, but you find something down inside you that you wouldn't have traditionally found if you were out there racing normally.
Yeah, and it's also racing through the pain barrier as well. It's we heard when we spoke to Pete earlier that he was in a bit of pain with certain positions that he had to be in with under braking and things like that. Definitely seems to have found a bit of comfort right there as he's really, really showing what he can do, even with the what he's going through right now.
Absolutely. Jamie Ayers in front. He's raced him a million times before. Andreas Katz behind, and Dan Bristow is there searching for the outside. Has had an incident already in this race. He definitely wouldn't want to have another one and rack up those license points early on in the season. So there is always that to keep in mind. And the more that they fight, the less likely they're going to catch the likes of Andy Maxwell, for example, who's done fantastic. We've got some 2 wide up the hill. Carl Giacoletti in the back of the field, racing Ralph Cullen. This is an important fight for 12th and 13th.
Yeah, and Jackalette doesn't seem to have the momentum here as he comes into the right-hander now. And look at Dan Hunt there, trying to force his way through as well. So they've got to be careful with this one. Dan Hunt will want to get around these guys as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but it's not as easy as that for Dan. He's just got to pick them off one at a time, and very nearly losing there the safeguard car. There just behind, that was Carl Hardy taking a trip to the gravel. There has been a change of position though, and Pete Newman is up into third place ahead of Jamie Ayers. Bristow is also through on Andreas Katz, who's priding consistency here in this opening meeting to make sure that he gets as much as he can. We go to lap 6 of 9. It'll be 4 laps to go when Martin Sampson crosses the start-finish line. Long drive to the start-finish line here around Okayama. And crucially, that gap remains 1.9 seconds to his teammate behind. But they are starting to close in behind at a rate of a second a lap.
Yeah, Maxwell is starting to fall victim to the cars behind us. They all get it all settled down now, and Newman can just set his sights on that number 19 car in front of him. Martin Sampson seems to be managing the gap very well. He's actually extended the gap to over 2 seconds now. So Sampson very happy with where he is right now.
Oh, Andreas Katz isn't. He's trying to get by Dan Bristow again. Not having any of that is the number 12. But car 23 now. Andreas Katz hasn't said his number, it seems. And he will be looking to try and use this run. They've brought Vincenzo Amico into the party ever so slightly. They've got to be careful about that as they run through across the beams. You never cross the beams. You know that if you've seen any sci-fi, but crossing the beams is okay. They got themselves into position and they're nice and calm for the next bit, the Revolver Corner, probably the coolest name on this circuit going through. And ultimately, they have got to be very patient because they are both clawing their way back into the clutches of Jamie Ayers.
Yeah, the Revolver Corner right up there with the corkscrew and other corners that we've heard in the past. But yeah, very close battle between Ayers, Bristow, Katz and Amico. And Ayers looks like he's starting to lose a bit of pace here as now Bristow is right on his tail coming through the final 2 corners.
Absolutely, and it's that pace that we're seeing here. Jamie Ayers has been in struggle streak with the stability of the car all race long. He's been wrestling an octopus in a washing machine, it seems, with the way that he's trying to make that car work. But ultimately, Dan Bristow's not going to care what the car in front looks like as long as he's past it as they go in towards turn number 1. Not a traditional place to make the move. You've got to be very patient. Through turn 2 at Williams is off camber. You try and pick up the run and, oh no, Van Gaal's in the fence. He taps it with the tail.
Yeah, big problems for Van Gaal. And he's going to lose a few spots as Johansson's already gone by. As here comes Scott Malcolm now. And Malcolm is under a bit of pressure now as he comes up to PVG. Dan Hunt is trying every which way possible to get around him. Carl Jackalette almost gets into the back of Dan Hunt there. And Hunt contact with Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm's just struggling here. And now you start to see it. Cullen's going to pick those up. And they're trying to fight for space. So it's all going on. It's 3 wide as well, by the way. Ayers, Bristow, Katz. It's Bristow who's got that one sorted. How's that next fight going to go? We're 3 wide. They're fanning to 4 as they try and hit the brakes. Hunt down the inside of Malcolm. Here comes Jackalette with the move as well. And Jackalette, well, no diet on that. That was full-blown coke with that move. That was beautifully tasting.
Yeah, it was. But here comes Ralph Cullen trying to take that position away from Jackalette there. Big dive to the inside from the Irishman as they come towards the next left-hander. Carl Hardy looking very threatening behind them as well.
Speaking of threatening, Andy Maxwell's stint in second position looks like it's about to reach an end. There's a Pete Newman behind who has just been slowly reeling in that gap and has finally reached it. Crucial in terms of this race for points, and we're talking points now. It's round 3 of 48. Yes, every point matters, even the ones in round 3. So now here is Newman all over Andy Maxwell and wanting to take that position. A, S, A and P.
Yeah, Maxwell we know is not the easiest person to get around though, but if anybody can do it, it's going to be Pete Newman as they come down towards the right-hander, and Newman just not close enough to get that move done on the 19. As Newman, big dive to the outside there, might try and get the inside line. Doesn't really have it there.
Well, he's just carrying that speed, and Maxwell not as quick. taking that shallower inside line. And as they reach the small kink in the straight, look for that braking marker around the 75 meter as they go through. There's the pass. It's as easy as that. Wide goes Ayers in the background, by the way. And there through goes Andreas Katz. And now it's a who's who of drivers in this series behind Andy Maxwell. Bristow, his technically teammate. You've got then Katz. You've got Ayers, who's scraggling again through the corner. And Vincenzo Amico. They're all there, all searching for places. There's only one spot left on the podium, though. And Maxwell's trying his level best that it's going to be his. Yeah,
and we're coming up to the final lap as well, so Maxwell will need to hold on for dear life just for one more lap. And he's got to do it against his teammate as well, so it's just a double-edged sword for him right now.
Absolutely it is. If he gets it to work, it's going to be great. If he finds himself on the wrong end of it, well, it's not going to be ideal, especially when it's optical blue, not optical green. So now you start to wonder here, this fight for the podium. It's 3.3 seconds to race lead to Martin Sampson. We know that's not going to be caught. It's 0.9 of a second now to Pete Newman. He's starting to scamper away and will do in this opening sector. For Andy Maxwell, he knows he's got to do one thing and one thing good. Cover off his teammate here, or what isn't necessarily his teammate in this series, but normally is. That's Dan Bristow, who's manufactured a move to the outside later on the brakes into the corner. Maxwell's trying not to give this one up, but on the inside, he's not got much. But immediately, he's going to be shadowed by Andreas Katz, who saw that as an opportunity with those two fighting amongst each other. Get back into the tow as quickly as you can, Andreas, if you want to make that move, but at least for the time being, it is going to be patient, and now it's going to have to be to the outside again, or is it? It's just earlier on the brakes. Ayers is going to send it up the inside. He's going to run into the door of Andreas Katz. Amico's got nowhere to go, trying to funnel away through the inside. I think Maxwell's got damage, and his race is going to be limping home as they go on through. Not the way that you wanted to see that battle for the podium end here in race 3. Only a handful of corners through Redmond. Into Hobbs goes Martin Sampson, who knew that today he needed to set the tempo of his season. Someone who knows what race 2s and race 3s mean in this championship, and he has done that fantastically. Car number 80 rounds the final corner. This is a win for Optical, but not the one you'd normally expect. Martin Sampson, a W at Okayama.
Great result for him, and Pete Newman again in second place, as there goes Dan Bristow. Katz lucky to get P4, Amico going to get P5. 6th to Anthony Larson, and Jamie Ayers, who tried that audacious dive on the final lap, probably going to pick up some penalty points after that one.
Yeah, seems most likely. You can see how many places have been lost. Some good drives, though, throughout the field have come on through, and Robin Johansson's probably the biggest one of the lot in 9th place. Yes, he's lost 5 places, but he's done wonderfully there through that one. And then you've got the duo of Hunt and Cullinan, who have done fantastically in this one on top of that. But for the final time tonight, we are going to go to our spinning wheel. We're going to see where this all ends up and lands. And then the final race is going to be on the horizon.
It's a full grid swap.
And it's the disaster that a few drivers were hoping was not going to turn up. It's a full reverse grid, and it will not include the 3 drivers who have retired from this race. We'll get to them in a little moment as we go through official classified results then here from this fantastic Okayama circuit. Martin Sampson, 15 minutes, 43 seconds, gets the job done, wins by 2.5 over Pete Newman. Then with Daniel Bristow finding a way from 24th on the grid all the way up onto the podium. Andreas Katz gets 4th with Vincenzo Amico 5th and Anthony Larson in 6th place. It was Jamie Ayers with that hit on the final lap there in 7th, with Andy Maxwell 8th, Robin Johansson finishing off in 9th, and PVG, Peter Van Gaal, finishing off the race in 10th. Just managed to beat out in the end Dan Hunt in the 07 Sim Racing Studios car there in 11th, with Ralph Cullinan 12th and Scott Malcolm trying to keep it out of trouble as much as possible there, finishing 13th. Carl Hardy gets 14th with Mick Barry 15th, Steve Hansford in 16th with Darrell Wright in 17th. Then you've got Alan Toon 18th, Charles Kellyman in 90th. It's been a tough start for his first races as pro, with Carl Jacquelet finishing off in 20th, Andy Littler and Paul Lee 21st and 22nd as they went through. Of course, we saw what happened with Andy Littler as the three retirees, Mark Lutz, Craig Jones, and crucially, on upside down, Steve Hefford, probably wondering what on earth happened there in that race. But crucially, we're going to take this chance to go and have a little bit of a chat with some of our drivers. And, well, no better place to go and grab a certain driver here and a driver there than Martin Sampson, who joins us right now. Martin, crucial win, crucial in the sense that you got to that position after turn 4 and you never looked back.
No, I saw who I had behind me, so I know that if we could get a bit of a gap, there was a good chance. I was really hoping me and Andy would get a 1-2. I slowed down a little bit to help him with a bit of a tow, but by the time I saw Pete Newman come in, that was it. I had to go. I thought I can't hang around, unfortunately. So, yeah.
It's the way races go from time to time. Every result is vital. But for you, how important is it after taking that 2-week break or so at the end of the season, making sure that you're revitalized for the season? How important is it to start off the opening week of the championship with a W?
Oh, definitely. I think, I want to try and get higher where I finished last season. So, to get a win in the first week, hopefully more will come. But yeah, definitely very, very important to get this win so early in the season.
And it's going to be tough work to get another one for you in this next race. It's a full reverse grid. So by my mathematics, which isn't the best at the best of times, that'll be a P22 start for you, Martin.
Oh, that's not too bad. Hopefully I could make a few places through the field. So yeah, see what can happen.
Well, see what can happen indeed. Before we let you go then, shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank? It's a big victory for Optical.
Yeah, well, thanks to all my optical teammates and all that. Special thanks to Roy as well, who's not here tonight as it's his birthday. And also to say congratulations to Daniel as well, because he's expecting a little girl in a few months' time.
Not racing on your birthday, whatever next.
I know, terrible.
Absolutely terrible. Martin Sampson there, picking up the big victory and having every reason to be excited. We're going to step aside, though, for the final time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, race 4 will be coming up, and it is promising to be a cracker. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series here from Okayama in Japan. It is a track which is small, it is a track which is technical, and it is a track which is a little bit dark at the moment, 5 o'clock in the morning time. The lights are staying on for this one all the way to the end. I'm Jake Sperry, joined as always with Sam Cooper-Bennett in for the action. And Sam, a full reverse grid for this final race, and we've seen here, there and everywhere over the course of the races tonight. Wins for Daniel Bristow, wins for Pete Newman, wins for Martin Sampson. Anything and everything is possible when it comes to a full reverse grid.
Yeah, and the one word I've been preaching ever since we started broadcasting this league is chaos, and that's exactly what I'm predicting we're going to see in race 4. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Chaos is a brew often served piping hot here with the UK Sim Racing crew. And as we know, it's how you navigate through that chaos, which gives you exactly what you need. And there'll be the likes of Vincenzo Amico, Andreas Katz, the two former and, well, one current champion that will be worth keeping in mind. Of course, Vincenzo Amico in the 78, a driver who does have quality and isn't just a random face and name. Of course, Sam is the driver who has himself at one point in time a license to the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series.
Yeah, and he's the reigning champion coming into tonight, and I will be honest, he's been a bit off colour tonight. He's not really been showing well, he's been showing a bit of aggression, but not the pace that he showed in Season 2, so wondering if he's just trying to ease his way back into the championship defence and just going a bit slowly this time.
4th, 18th and 5th, that's 7th in the championship right now as things stand going into this 4th race overall. Pete Newman usurps control of the championship and has done so at this point by 10 points over Andreas Katz. It's a further 10 then to Martin Sampson, which shows you everything that you need to know. But there is, of course, most sports on the horizon for next week. There's always going to be a challenge, but their focus now is going to be, well, how do you do what is quote-unquote landmine avoidance on these opening laps of reverse grid races?
Well, it's just be as careful as possible. I mean, it's very easy to trip over your other driver around this track with how small it is, but it is possible, and we've seen it before. We saw it in race 1. Everybody just single file and just watching the P's and Q's, and they kind of need to do that even more in this 4th race, just to, well, just make it to the end at least anyway.
And making it to the end is going to be the first crucial matter of fact. If you can't make it to the end of the race, you're not going to be scoring points, and it is a heavy price to pay for a non-finish here, because you get 0 points. If you consider it's 100 for a win, it's 95 per second, and then you get increments of about 2 and 1, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble pretty quickly in this series if you do run into retirement and you fall over 100 points back. But we believe we're just waiting for one driver before we get ourselves ready to start this final race overall, and what a crucial final race it is going to prove to be. We've seen how drivers need to be patient, and we saw in the last race a driver upside down.
Yeah, and Steve Hefford will be looking to not repeat that one in this 4th race, as he's just coming out of pit road ahead of Darrell Wright. Hefford and the Momo team struggling again here tonight. They need to up their game if they want to have a good shot at the team's championship. Just want to mention about the AM category. A seasoned AM competitor, as known as Mr. Andy Maxwell, being beaten by 2 rookies right now.
Yep, Johansson and Malcolm doing a fantastic job of holding down the fort. Optical Black and Work Guard by Result. They're doing a brilliant of action going on at this stage. So that's definitely going to be worth keeping an eye out on at this stage. But we're just hearing you can move session at this stage. We're okay. We're ready. Have we got everybody in server? Are we ready to go? And it looks like everyone is ready and is steady. So we are advancing server on to our final race of the night here from Okayama. It's been wonderful seeing the action here in Japan. And everybody knows that there is still those 15 minutes that could crucially decide whether you go out of this race happy or go out of this race sad. Quick fire grid then as we go through. They have 1 minute to grid out. Paul Lee will take the pole position with Andy Littler alongside. Then it's Carl Jackalette, and Charles Kellyman in fourth. Alan Toon and Darryl Wright make up row 3 with Steve Hansford and Mick Barry. Then it's Carl Hardy and Scott Malcolm in 10th. Ralph Cullinan, Dan Hunt, Peter Van Gaal, Robin Johansson, Andy Maxwell, Jamie Ayers, Anthony Larson, Vincenzo Amico, Andreas Katz, Daniel Bristow, Pete Newman and Martin Sampson 22nd. 3 drivers who do not get reversed, Mark Lutz, Craig Jones and Steve Hefford, then are going to be at the back of the field. It's going to be a tough race as well. 9 laps once more to get it all sorted and figured. Every driver knows that they have reduced visibility as well with these conditions. Just waiting for one driver. That is Steve Hansford to take to the grid. Otherwise than that, we will start without him as he may have to go from the pits. We look at that 7th grid stall back. It's going to be the one where we say, uh-oh, Mr. Hansford, you are starting from the pits. Let's get ourselves ready then here from Okayama. The final chance is here for points tonight in the opener. Lights on, lights out, we're underway. And it's a good start then from Carl Jackalette in the Diet Coke car, who's got a really good get-go. Kellyman as well was pretty okay. Andy Littler's going to have to be looking at this one into turn number 1. Nice start for Paul Lee. He's got the gap that's needed here. Running a little wide is Carl Hardy, and he's going to spin in front of Malcolm. There's contact, and now the track's jammed, and they're all going to run into each other.
And there it is, the chaos straight away, and Dan Bristow is in it and out of the race as well. Bristow is out already.
Amico's out. Amico's out, has got heavy damage, and there's a spinner. It's Scott Malcolm at turn 2. So it's all gone wrong. Heavy damage as well on Anthony Larson's Ronin car. Ronin Sim Sports have had a shocker in race number 4. But crucially, it is Jackalette and Lee who are side by side for the race lead. You got Kellyman, you got Littler. They're all there in the fight. Mick Barry's had a good start. And guess who as well, who's had a great one? Dan Hunt has got to an amazing start in the 07.
That he is. He's already up to P6 right now and looking for a good result out of this one. Going to capitalise on a lot of big hitters being taken out of this one. Amico, Bristow, Cullinan's out of it as well. Going to be big points here for Dan Hunt if he can keep it in a straight line.
And that's the key. Keep it in a straight line. Martin Sampson off the road. Through's going to go Hefford. Through's going to go Ayers. And maybe Mark Lutz as well, considering his options at this moment in time. Carl Jackalette, though, leads this race on his first week in the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. Paul Lee, who has had a smattering of appearances. Round goes Andy Littler. It's another issue for the work guard car.
Yeah, and very unfortunate there. Just lost the back end coming out of the right-hander. We'll get it righted again. No damage on his car, but definitely very much on the back of it. And Jackalette is off.
And that's at the final corner here. And it's a big incident. There was contact with Paul Lee, who tagged the rear, and Jackalette just went spinning around into the gravel. Paul Lee leads this race, or he did, because Charles Kellyman found a way through. Charles Kellyman now in control of this race. Lee in second. Hunt is now in 3rd position. And I'll tell you what, Newman and Katz are seeing this as an opportunity. There's not much that Robin Johansson can do about this one. Katz to the inside, and that is another move concocted.
Samson around as well. He said he was going to feeling confident for this final race, but find himself facing the wrong way on a one-way street. So Samson in trouble as well.
Off.
Johansson having problems as well.
It was 3 wide with Pete Newman and one of the safeguard cars of Darryl Wright. There was contact, quarter panel contact there on Darryl Wright's car by Pete Newman, who was trying to force the issue 3 wide. And I think Pete Newman might get a penalty for that after the race. So look at the slew of cars who are in the pits. Bristow, Amico, Larson, Johansson, Cullinan, Malcolm, Hardy. That's 7 in the pits then of this 25 car field at the moment. I'll tell you what, this lead battle suddenly got interesting. Dan Hunt is all over the back of Paul Lee and Charles Kellyman.
Yeah, and Kellyman sees an opportunity to try and get his first ever race win here, as here comes Dan Hunt to the inside of Paul Lee, coming through the final 2 corners. Doesn't get it done there, won't get it done into the final corner. Will need to get a good run in the final into down the start finish straight. Will get it because Lee gets it all wrong in the exit at the top of the final turn.
Not only that, but Dan Hunt trying to bring out his inner Ryan Hunter-Ray. 2 tyres on the grass out of the final corner, getting the move done and up into second, and crucial move up into second because Andreas Katz was starting to be very, very happy as he was closing on in. But still, you got to get past Mr. Cleaners. Off the road goes Paul Lee. He's going to be joined by Mick Barry in 4th position, and some great scrapping behind as well. Steve Hefford and Andy Maxwell side by side for a moment.
Yeah, they were, and they're trying to get to the back of Darryl Wright, who's had a good start as well. Unfortunately, his teammate didn't have such a good start, but Wright is up there in the top 10, but now being absolutely hounded by that 72 of Hefford.
Absolutely, and side by side for the lead, Kellyman and Dan Hunt on lap 3 of 9. As they go on the brakes, Dan Hunt just able to brake a whole heap of a lot later, and that is the move made then. Dan Hunt to the point and into the race lead. Steve Hefford has his move. He's got it done on Darryl Wright, so that will be a very nice overtake then that has been sorted. But I'll tell you what, it'll be about how Andreas Katz makes moves here. He's second in the championship right now after these first 3 races tonight. But just behind him is the driver who leads. If you want to gain points, you're going to have to get through Superman. And that, of course, is Pete Newman, because what he's been doing tonight has been superhuman.
Yeah, coming back from that operation, has a stent in him and has been performing absolutely out of this world. I mean, 3 podiums, 1 win, just unbelievable form by Newman despite his injuries.
Yeah, it's been fantastic form. Well, it's 2 podiums, 1 win. He was fighting for the win in race 1, but ultimately an incident shuffled him back down to 9th place. Mick Barry overshoots it, and Paul Lee manages to hold on. And here comes Katz then, to the outside, trying to search for the place on the Result clothing car. And it's not quite there just yet, but look at a drive off the exit through the Moss S. They come along. Andreas Katz set that one up absolutely beautifully, and he can't quite get the angle he wants into the corner. So Mick Barry's going to continue to fight this all the way down to the hairpin.
There he will, and they're going to come up on the back of Paul Lee as well, and Lee has fallen well back into the clutches of these guys. And now here we go, here comes Mick Barry now going to be looking to the inside of Paul Lee. Here comes Pete Newman though, big dive 4 wide, and it looks like Lee might come out of the better of this one. No, they won't.
Paul Lee takes a tap. Mick Barry there with the hit, and Paul Lee's race, I think, is all but dashed at this moment in time. He's trying to stay out of the way of everyone else. I think he's damaged. So Paul Lee, what a real shame. He'd been having an amazing race so far here in this one, but it ends just like that. Dan Hunt still your leader, Kellyman still in second, but Mick Barry now gets promoted up into 3rd place through all of that drama. Still though, there is every single chance of this race having some fantastic battling going on. For example, you've got Craig Jones, Mark Lutz, Carl Jacqueline, and Andy Maxwell. They're all there, and this is a real opportunity for everyone right now, because Jacqueline here is certainly going to be hoping that he can get his points in pro. And we've been talking as well about the AM category championship. Well, both Robin Johansson and Scott Malcolm, they're not scoring here. So Andy Maxwell, the floor is yours.
That it will be. So Maxwell going to see his opportunity to take away the AM category lead now in this one, but the lead AM driver is Mick Barry in P4 right now, so he'll be gaining quite a few points out of this one. Just want to mention Ralph Cullen. What a terrible night it's been for him tonight. A disconnect in race 2 and a retirement in race 4. Not the way you want to start your season.
No, this will be one of his drop rounds. Mark your words about it. You get 2 of them in this series, and you can't serve a drop round on a night you get a penalty. So that is also worth keeping in mind, that you've got to be clean to have your races dropped in this series. Maxwell under pressure though. Here comes Jacqueline in the Diet Coke car, trying to manufacture a way to the inside. They've got 18 runners on the leading lap, and on the brakes we go. Nice and comfy. Not much Maxwell can do. That is a clean pass from Jacqueline. Yeah,
Jacqueline up to P8 now. We'll set off in search of Steve Hefford, but Hefford not really close enough. He's about 4 seconds up the road from Jacqueline as we're looking at the 39 of Peter Van Gaal, putting Mick Barry under pressure now.
PVG wants the move. He's not going to quite get there just yet. He's in the redder Momo car, the Dutchman behind the wheel, going through the right of Mike Knight's corner to the last corner out on track. This sweeping right-hander, and on the gravel goes one Mr. Mick Barry as he is desperately trying to claw on to any positions he can keep at this point in time. Kellyman being closed in as well. We're on lap 6 now of this one. I'll tell you what, we've got a really nice four-car scrap going on still with Jacqueline and co. They haven't really lost too much time in comparison, as into the pits comes Darrell Wright. Another issue with the fuel, perhaps.
Possibly, as he brings it in, and he brings it into his pit stall right in front of the ruined his ruined teammate's car. Oh, big contact, big Barry into the wall.
Barry's off, Van Gaal's off. Both of them in trouble. This is the issue. They had contact through the Moss S, and it was a case of they all gathered it together, but it was too late. They made secondary contact. Barry in the wall. Van Gaal found tyres as well, and both of them still with each other on circuit.
Yeah, disaster for both of them. Barry getting the worst of it, noses it into that concrete retaining wall. Will not have a happy car for the rest of the race, and Van Gaal will have the cleaner car now. We'll be able to sprint away, but not going to be very happy with their races as things stand now.
Absolutely. Andreas Katz, by the way, and Pete Newman have got through on Charles Kellyman in the meanwhile. That puts them up a place into what is going to be second and third at this point. And on the brakes through Hobbs Corner they go along. There's not much you can do at the moment. Patience is needed, and it has been a strong challenge out there so far. Lutz still in his fight, as is Craig Jones at this moment, and every position mattering here with the points as they are. But it seems for now that Dan Hunt is clear, and is clear by a good 3 seconds at this stage. In fact, it's now 4.1 seconds, the margin at the front of this field. And I tell you who's quietly worked his way from dead last up, Steve Hefford, P5.
Great run for him. Ended the last race on his roof, and now will be ending his the fourth race in the top 5, as we still have this big four-car battle behind him. Just places swapping almost every lap between these four. It's Lutz, Maxwell, Jacqueline, and Jones going for it as the 3 wide. Maxwell into the grass as well. Almost 4 wide now. Wow.
Oh, my goodness me. You can't get any more brave than that as they go through. Some would say foolish. But Lutz has held on. Bit of contact there between Jacqueline and Jones. But as they get themselves up then onto this attack, it's going to be about who they go to. It's Noah's Ark Sim Racing, ladies and gentlemen. They are 2 wide and they are 2 deep as they follow 2 by 2 down towards the hairpin. Jacquelette's got this one on the inside. Katz and Newman, by the way, are fighting side by side as they go to the Revolver Corner. And they are still going to fight 2 wide off of the exit. This is sensational stuff.
Great racing all around as Maxwell looking for an inside line on Jacqueline, but Jacqueline going to sail it around the outside through Revolver. Not really going to work out for him right there, but they're still side by side as they come to the next left-hander as Katz. Yeah.
Whoa. Finally gets it done on Pete Newman. No matter which way you look, they're scrapping, and this is what we love about this series. They scrap everywhere. They scrap here, they scrap there. They'll scrap on a boat. They will scrap on a follow. That is why we love this then from Okayama, and that is your Dr. Seuss commentary of the week. There is Andreas Katz, though, still holding on to second place. They have resigned their chance of a race win with about a lap and 2 laps to go, at this stage. But they can't afford to fight too hard because they're going to bring Steve Hefford into play.
That they are, and Hefford already trying to get to the back of Charles Kellerman right now. Just noticed Vincenzo Amico, he'll pick up any point that he can get at this point now. He's back out of pit road again.
He is, and that's crucial. Every point matters in a series like this, so you can get the car out, if you can get something done, get a bit more understanding of how it acts when it's damaged, you might as well go and get the rest of your night's worth out of it. Pete Newman, 118 machine, still searching for that move into seconds. Going to have to go the long way around in the Pure Sims esports car. That is the team run by the BTCC 2-time champion Ash Sutton. And now here comes the challenge out of the corner of the into the Revolver. They will now come along. Katz can hold the outside line. He'll have to do the same at Piper. Gravity's not going to help you through this corner though. And again, it's the same story. go again. It will be to Redmond Corner, the next battle that will come into play. On the brakes, Newman sending it in deep and saying, I am forcing the issue. You're not finding a way through. And Katz gives him a tap. And he gives him a tap. And they all check up because he's trying not to give him the place.
Now that's like Kellerman and Heffer back in as well. So now, with 1 lap to go, pretty much, we've got a 4-way battle for second place. And there goes Kellerman to the inside of Newman now. Heffer looking for a way by, runs a bit wide out the final corner. That's like Katz get away now.
It has, and Andreas Katz here, Sam, is going to be really, really happy. He will be the Katz pajamas at this point in time, knowing that he is in second and he's got about a half a second.
Yeah, as we've had Rule 1 has been broken here, Jake, between the work guard cars, Alan Toon and Andy Littler have come together.
That is a big Rule 1, and it will go into Alan Toon's book as a violation there. Rule 1 of sim racing, do not hit your teammate. Rule 2 of sim racing, do not hit your teammate. You say it loud up, because if you didn't hear the first time, well, you know. But still, they fight for 4th place now. Charles Kellyman will have to be defensive because Hef is searching for a chance, is going to look to the inside. Steve Hefford wants to get through past Kellyman, normally the cleanest driver in all of this grid, and then maybe have a little challenge at Pete Newman. On the brakes they go into the hairpin, and that is as plain as day on the final lap. That is Steve Hefford through and gaining a place behind, though. Carl Jacquelet, great scrap with Lutz. Van Gaal on the side-by-side battle then with Andy Maxwell also. That is not over and done with either. Van Gaal to the inside. He's going to pick one up. Maxwell prioritising finishing at this point in time. Not much they can do for the final couple of corners. There's 2 left for Dan Hunt. He's already celebrating as he goes through to Mike Knight corner. He knows what he's done here. It's been a tough race 3 tonight from a driver who has led the most in this championship but has never won a title. Dan Hunt picks up race 4 and says, catch me at Mosport.
He does, and it's going to be a straight race to the line between Newman and Katz, but Newman going to hold on ahead of Katz, ahead of Hefford. Kellerman going to get a top 5 out of this one, and now we come to the battle between Lutz, Jacquelet, Jones and Van Gaal, and it's going to be Lutz that's going to hold on at the line.
I'm so surprised that Andreas Katz has just lost second place there to Pete Newman. That is a steal as they came towards the line. Every other position just about being worked on at this stage. Darrell Wright will be a long time coming to make his way to the line, but the likes of Jamie Ayers, for example, you can see how battered and bruised that Momo car is, making that run towards the line. So the trouble's very much there. Alan Toon, Andy Littler, they are both also in a sense of trouble. And you know what? Here's some sportsmanship. Andy Littler has been given the place by Alan Toon as an apology for Rule 1 of sim racing there. So ultimately, that is the race in its entirety. We're going to get up for you classified results then here from Okayama. Here is how they have all finished out. It is the 07 of Dan Hunt. 15 minutes, 46 seconds has got it done. Then from 12th on the grid, he wins by nearly 7 seconds over Pete Newman, who gets his 3rd podium of the night, with Andreas Katz in 3rd and Steve Hefford in 4th position. A great drive from Charles Kellyman. He rounds out the top 5. Mark Lutz ends up with P number 6. He was able to hold off the likes of Carl Jacquelet, Craig Jones and Peter Van Gaal towards the end, including Andy Maxwell, whose 10th place pretty much puts him into the lead of the amateur category championship, as Paul Lee, who started in 1st, finishes off in 11th place. Martin Sampson, 22nd to 12th, but it could have been a lot more after that first lap incident, with Steve Hansford finishing off in 13th ahead of Mick Barry in 14th. Jamie Ayers walking wounded to 15th, with Andy Littler 16th and 17th to Alan Toon as he invoked Rule 1 of sim racing and broke the rule. And Darrell Wright, the last finisher over the line, 1 minute 33 seconds back in 18th place. Your retirees, or those who didn't make it on the leading lap: Vincenzo Amico, 5 laps down, got the car back out again. But Robin Johansson, Carl Hardy, Scott Malcolm, Ralph Cullinan, Daniel Bristow, and Anthony Larson, your retirees then from this race, and troubles very much a brewing there in race number 4 overall. But this is the chance where we get to have a little look down the grid, see if there's anyone we want to have a little bit of a chat and a conversation with, and I think now is as good a time as any at this point to bring in a driver we wouldn't necessarily always get a chance to talk to. Car 42, Carl Jacquelet then here is with us. Carl, starting in third, finishing in seventh. I mean, it doesn't tell all of the story, but you had yourself an incredible battle in the latter stages.
What a race. What a race. I think, were we actually 4 abreast at one point?
Yes. Yes, you were.
And we got away with it. Yeah, that was a race and a half, wasn't it? Wow.
It absolutely was. Let's talk the early stages of that race, Carl, because it looked like you were going to set off, you were going to break away, you had Paulie behind you. Let's talk about that incident at the final corner.
I just got a little tap from behind, and cold tyres, cold track, no chance of saving it. Kept it out the wall, though, and a nice, safe rejoin, and set off in pursuit.
Set off in pursuit. It's been an important start for you in terms of the season. How are you going to take this I would say very strong final race and build the momentum when it comes to action over at not at Okayama, sorry, that's where we are right now, over at Mosport?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I like Mosport. Had some pretty good results there in the past, and very pleased with my results tonight. I was looking at just keeping my nose clean and keeping out of trouble, getting back into sim racing after a bit of an illness and stuff. So very, very pleased with tonight's performance.
Well, it's good to see you here, and it's good to see you battling. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the organisers, Steve Hefford and the rest of the guys, for putting together a fantastic league. It's very much appreciated.
All right, at all. Carl Jacquelet there, a P7 overall. We do also have another driver wants to have a chat with us. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk with Scott Malcolm. Scott, it's been a very, I would say, patient 4 races from you, but you found yourself on the wrong end of the lap 1 incident.
Yeah, there was nothing I could do there. I think Cal just spun in front of me, and I'm just no other actions to hit the brakes in time.
Well, sometimes that's the way it goes, but it was a very good 3 races to get yourself in. You were second in the AM category championship heading into that race 4. How crucial has it been for you over the course of those first 3 races to prioritise getting the car to the finish line first?
That's basically all you've got to do with that AM championship. Just finish races. Pick and choose who you're going to race against. You know, if you've got like the fast guys like Katz, Newman, Van Gaal, Jamie, Steve Hefford and that coming up behind you, let them go. There's no point in fighting against them because it's just going to end in tears. You just let them go and you fight your own battles with the guys that's in these separate championships. That's what I do.
You did so very, very admirably. Next time out, it will be Mosport. How are you thinking that's going to play into your strength?
I don't know, because it's been ages since I've been behind the wheel of this car. I like that track. I've always done pretty well with other cars at that track. In this car, we'll see how the practice sessions go, and I can get a better judge for it.
That's always very good. Get your bearings first before you make predictions. Before we let you go, though, Scott, anyone you'd like to thank?
It's got to be the guys for organising this series and all these races, and obviously yourselves for doing the commentary, and all the result clothing guys for putting up with me.
No worries at all. Scott Malcolm there. 3 very good finishes. 1 maybe didn't quite go to plan. But Sam, that brings an end to proceedings here at Okayama. It is across the Pacific that we will be heading. We'll be going to Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada, because it is Mosport for round 2 of the championship.
Yeah, Mosport is another one of them technical tracks where you need to be on your guard here. It's going to be very difficult to circulate your way around there, but I'm pretty sure with these guys, they'll bring a bit of extra spice to it, as they always do in any other track they would go to.
And as we know, spice is nice, and we get things very, very spicy in this series. A massive thanks to the team at the UK Sim Racing Leagues for getting all of this done for us for a third consecutive season. From Sam Cooper-Bennett and myself, Jake Sperry, this has been an ESBN broadcast from your esports broadcasting network. It has been 4 different winners from these first 4 races. We've seen the highs, the lows, the here's, there's, and in-betweens. But if you want a performance in sim racing that you can equivalate to the likes of those, say, Michael Jordan and the flu game that he had in his basketball career, you talk Pete Newman, you talk the work that he did today. My goodness, doesn't he deserve to lead the championship heading to Canada? We'll see you a week from now on ESBN.